Welcome back to another FPL reaction stream. We're going to be looking into Gameweek 17, but of course, Gameweek 16 is still in its infancy. We've got plenty of games on Sunday and one on the Monday. So a lot to discuss after the Saturday games have all come to a close. We just had Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. The Villains were 1-0 up, but still somehow managed to find a way to lose it. I was so close to getting my 1-1 prediction spot on there. And of course, we had a few shocking results. Liverpool dropping points against Fulham, but considering the circumstances, a very good point for Liverpool, and they still created a lot of chances and played some very good stuff. Arsenal looking clueless against Everton in a goalless draw, and Everton have been very solid defensively in the last couple of weeks, but they also got battered by Man United, so it goes to show that the Premier League is completely unpredictable this season, and a lot of goals in the other games. Newcastle wiping the floor with Leicester City, a 4-0 victory, and Isak torments me once a blood again, and then Ipswich Town getting a late winner against Wolves to pile on the pressure. Reinier Nuri with -2 points after being sent off in the 95th minute, or essentially after the game had come to a close because of an altercation he had whilst he already had a yellow card. And for those of you that aren't aware of the situation, so Nuri will still now be on 4 yellow cards because he got that second yellow, so that means he got the red card. So after that suspension, when he comes back after the red card, he is still going to be on 4 yellows. So if he gets another yellow and he gets up to 5, he's going to be suspended before Gameweek 19. But I'll be doing a bit of a spoiler alert here. I have sold the bloody geezer already. I'm absolutely sick of him. He did get a clean sheet in the first Gameweek I bought him. He got an assist against West Ham the other day. But apart from that, it's just blank after blank. And then the red card here, he's still going to be on 4 yellows when he's back. Done. Bin him. Goodbye. I'm happy to see the back of him. But on a more positive note, Matheus Cunha with 9 points. He is such a bonus points machine, and he also actually had a bit of an incident after the game where he actually pretty much, let's say, had contact with an Ipswich Town staff member's face. So I'm not sure if there'll be retrospective action there. That's why maybe don't go very gun-ho on your transfers, don't make them early, but I've done it already, so maybe I'm not the one to preach that sort of advice. Let's get straight into your questions and comments as always. I did a reaction stream, I did a deadline stream earlier today. It was over 3 hours. And we're here again, and we'll go on for as long as people want me to. So could be 2 hours, who knows? At this point, I'll have late dinner today. There's a lot to discuss in the Premier League, as there pretty much always is. Man City is finished, says 39 points with Palmer, Sanchez, Bowen, Kirkes, and Joao Pedro left. Fairly decent stuff. And if you've got Palmer captain, which I'm guessing you don't, but yeah, that's pretty solid. I'm hoping Palmer goes quiet tomorrow. I know his effective ownership is 110%, so it's not too bad, but yeah, it's not happening. He's going to do really well against Brentford, but I just hope somehow Brentford can pull off an upset. Man City's finished, says bench Robinson, bad decision. I disagree. It's not a bad decision, it's a bad outcome. He would have expected 2 assists for Robinson, for Liverpool to go down to 10 men, and all of these circumstances. I think starting Nuri on paper was a right decision, but Wolves are in the bottom for a reason, or near the bottom for a reason. So yeah, I think Cunha's the only Wolves asset that is kind of reliable and maybe worth holding when the fixtures get tough. But Nuri, he's a sell right now, to be honest. El Parcero del Fantasy says, hey Dylan, I think it's time to sell Nuri. Oh really? Yeah, I've done it already. Who would you transfer in? Already have Gabriel, Kirkes, Trent and Lewis. Colwill was still a decent option, but if you've got Robert Sanchez in goal, I don't recommend a defensive double up for Chelsea. So in that case, you would look elsewhere. And Arsenal and Liverpool are definitely worth investment. Of course, you've got Gabriel and Trent. I don't mind doubling up on those defences, to be honest. But yeah, I'd be looking at Arsenal, Liverpool and Chelsea right now. And I think Colwill might be the one. Do you think Lewis is also a sell, or can we hold him? You can hold him, but I do think he's more of a sell than a hold. Because Man City are just in terrible form. 1 win out of the last 10 games. He's obviously suspended this week, but you've kept him, so it makes sense if you end up keeping him. But he's not nailed on to start most weeks. I benched Nuri for you. Well done. I mean, I think for those that started him, a bit unfortunate in a lot of cases, really. I mean, you're comparing him to Robertson away to Liverpool away. I would have started Nuri all day long, but Wolves are just not reliable. I also transferred him out already. A lot of people will do that. One of the simplest moves this season, I think, will be Nuri to Robinson, especially after the 2 assists today. Powell went from a clean sheet and 2 bonus points to 1 point in the last 10 minutes. Rip, thinking of switching him to Robinson. Yeah, Aston Villa can't be trusted defensively. I've said this all along. I just wouldn't invest in any of them. Luca Dean, Pau Torres, Concept, I would completely avoid them. Emi Martinez in goal. Made a brilliant save, by the way, but then for the first goal, Milenkovic's equaliser, very, very poor. Was pretty excited with the Arsenal lineup. Was boring though. Still got Palmer captain to hopefully save my week. Yeah, it seems like it's a pattern. Whenever Arsenal fans are quite happy with the lineup, and I was as well, it seems like it always is destined to go wrong. But there's definitely some serious problems, some underlying issues that just don't get resolved every single season, and it's the same vicious cycle with the Arsenal, and it's just not going to change, unfortunately. 14 points with 8 players to go. Yeah, 8 players to go. I think you shouldn't worry too much yet. We can discuss this in the deadline stream next week, and we'll see how you did. Cunha potentially getting banned after putting his hand on Ipswich staff. Yeah, I briefly alluded to that earlier. That's a good point. Yeah, so maybe going early on my transfer is going to backfire again, especially if Jackson is suspended and I need to buy an attacker, essentially. I don't want to start Veltman or or Van den Berg. So, yeah, there could be a lot of transfers. Don't be surprised if I take a -8 this week. Unfortunately for Wood, offside goal. I'd say fortunately, but fair enough. If not, I get 18 points instead of 14. Yeah, and he could have got bonus points, to be honest. He's that type of player. 1 goal, and he gets 1, 2, maybe sometimes 3 bonus points. So it would have been a big win for you. 46 points so far, 4 to go. Yeah, good score, decent number left. Should be a green arrow, but depends on what rank you're at. Forest are on fire. Yeah, the last 2 games, obviously very big wins against Man United for the first time in 30 years, and then Aston Villa after trailing. I mean, Forest are where they are in the league table for a reason, but yeah, I mean, it's really impressive. I'd never expected Forest to be this high up in the table. Can they sustain this? We'll wait and see, but they've still got some tough fixtures to go. I have to say, though, they're really impressing me. I got 14 points. You might have a lot of people left, though, so don't worry about it too much. 24 with 4 to go. Missed the early matches. I'm surprised when I saw my FPL team just now. 8 Nuri. Yeah, I'm sick of him. That's why I sold him already. I don't recommend early transfers, but yeah, I've done it. 39 points with 4 to go. Had Salah captain, which was somewhat unlucky. Yeah, I get you. Liverpool going down to 10 men definitely handicapped Salah and Liverpool players, but he still got an assist, a brilliant cross for Cody Gakpo for the equaliser, and Salah is just unstoppable, really. So, yeah, still in my thoughts for the captaincy next week. All of this FPL content creators told me not to sell Cunha and 8 Nuri for Van Dijk and Isak for -4 and see how it turned out. On top of everything, 8 Nuri scored negative points. Nice job. You got to take some responsibility yourself, though. I mean, content creators will give you advice or give their opinions, but ultimately it's up to you to make those decisions and balance it. You've got to also trust your gut feeling. I always say it, you know, play the game the way you want to. I don't think keeping Cunha was a bad thing, mate. He got 9 points. Isak, by the way, should have scored more than 1. And I always said for me he was one of my top 5 captain options for Gameweek 16. And I actually bought Isak. I recommended buying him for weeks and weeks. But I sold him myself because of the injury going into the Liverpool game and yada, yada, yada. 8 Nuri, fair enough. He's a terrible asset and I got it wrong with him. But I think with Cunha, that's probably misleading there. Hey, back Dylan. Been undecided between Hall and Kirkes instead of Greaves. Opted for Kirkes eventually. Hopefully he does well like Hall. I mean, never say never, right? But I just don't see that happening. I think the Lewis Hall second assist was a bit contentious. You could definitely argue it should have been cancelled or chalked off and basically been given as no assist. But FPL can be very inconsistent with their decisions. Lewis Hall does face Ipswich next. I think Newcastle will concede, and don't be surprised if they lose or drop points in that match. 8 Nuri owners mudded. What a red card. Glad I sold him. My cup opponent got 23 points of 18 points. Come triple Everton defence. Yeah, that's BS, to be honest. A bit of bad luck there for you. I'm actually doing well, I think. I quickly glanced at my cup opponent using livefpl.net because I saw them advertise the segment on Twitter. I'm fairly sure I should win it, but who knows with this point. Yeah, it's just a 1-match ban because it's a second yellow, but once he returns, he is still going to be on 4 yellow cards. So 1 more before Gameweek 19, and he will get another suspension. So just get rid of that guy. And I always said after Leicester away, you're definitely looking at binning him. That assist being given to Hall was a joke, I agree. The ball was literally going behind him and took a big deflection. FPL Towers, no deviation, room, initial destination, no consistency whatsoever. I think you've summed it up perfectly. I think it was a bigger thing with Son because he was like a really popular transfer that week in terms of people on YouTube or Twitter, the engaged, you know, FPL managers and stuff. Yeah, I just don't think the Hall assist should have been given. Just be consistent with all of them, and I don't think people will have an issue. Of course, there's some people will always find a problem with anything, but I think reasonable people would understand if they're consistent with the rules. If they're not, then it's just like the referees is complete bullshit, isn't it? Weiseng says, seems like I have to sell Nuri for Kirkes tonight, otherwise I'm in priced out. Yeah, I think Fulham defenders will be on top of the agenda, Robertson especially, but in your case, it's Kirkes. At that price and below, Kirkes, Cole and Hall are the standouts, and Kirkes is absolutely fine until Game Week 21. I think the Hall assist is valid. Yeah, we've got different opinions, and that's absolutely fair. You could argue it's not as bad as maybe the Son one when it was originally given, but I just think if they're consistent with it, it should have been chalked off. But I'm happy to have that discussion. Patrick says, hi Dylan, 34 points of Jackson, Joao Pedro, Johnson and Palmer. Captain left to play. Do you know why Aitner is on a red? Yeah, after the game, he got into a scrap and he got a second yellow card as a result. So, yeah, unfortunately, instead of just giving us 0 points and at least being neutral and not, doing anything, he gets -2. So just a complete disaster. I would have been better off starting Colwill and, Veltman as well, but it is what it is. Because he got a red card, yeah, because it's supposed to be the intent of the cross. I don't think he intended it like that, in my opinion, but teach their own. It's just inconsistent is all. I agree. 8 Nuri to who? Have the same problem. Kirkes, Colwill, Robinson. I think in terms of timing, Robinson will be very popular. He got 2 assists today. Faces Southampton next. Good fixtures over the next 6 game weeks. So I think Robinson will be the go-to. With Rodgers and Dean blanking on the bench, I hope now Veltman will start. I don't think he starts, to be honest. I put him in my 11 in the hopes that he does, and I'd love it if Brighton keep a clean sheet against Palace and Veltman is available and starts the game, but not too sure. Of course, MK7, 8 Nuri is suspended, but he's still going to be on 4 yellow cards when he's back. I've covered that already, so not going to go into that too much more. Already have Robinson, so I'm swapping 8 Nuri with Munoz. Yeah, Munoz is more of a buy, I'd say, around Game Week 18 or 19, but the way Arsenal are right now, don't be surprised if Palace get a result there, so I'm not against that. 58 points of Palmer captain, Joao Pedro, Bowen, and Cole to play. Yeah, you're sorted for this week. Los Blancos are losing the Madrid derby. I actually wasn't aware. I need a bit of a break from football, to be honest. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. It seems like Barcelona and Real Madrid will be inconsistent this season. I hope Cunha is safe. Need him for another week. I'm not really too optimistic about that. Once we have updates over the week, I can maybe, give you updated thoughts, but I wouldn't be surprised about a ban, to be honest. 8 Nuri price drop tonight. Not my concern. I sold them, so I'm very happy with that. I'm surprised Odegaard got hooked off the 60. Any ideas why? He was shit. I'm sorry, I can't sugarcoat it. Odegaard was terrible, and it's 3 or 4 games in a row now that he's been shocking. Misplaced passes, decision-making, all off it. And I just think Arsenal are too over-reliant on Saka and Odegaard to make things tick. Yeah, I don't think Odegaard being subbed off was a problem, but then you break it down, and Arteta sometimes with his subs needs to think outside the box. Odegaard might be having a stinker, but why not bring on Nwaneri alongside Odegaard and give Everton a different problem with 2 creative players in the midfield, linking up, creating chances, and linking up with Martinelli, not leaving him isolated, and having more of a balanced team. Well, we can get into Arsenal all night, but I'd prefer not to. Will Tsimikas take Robertson's spot? Well, we saw, I wouldn't say 50-50, but they were rotating earlier in the season, and I do think Tsimikas became #1 at one stage, but he is fairly injury-prone, it seems. But once Tsimikas is back, yeah, I do think Tsimikas will take the nod in a lot of matches. That's why I said in today's deadline stream, do not go for Robertson. Trent, Van Dijk, Gomez in that order. I would not invest in the Scotsman. But the red card is completely unrelated. That's just bad luck for those that went there. Yeah, look, Melissa, obviously FPL's a game of opinions, but I do find a lot of times in the FPL community that people fail to take responsibility for their actions. That's why in UCL Fantasy, for example, people are like, oh, what's your team? Show me your team. And then I'm like, don't copy, you can use it as maybe inspiration, if you want to say that. If use it maybe as a template or like a foundation, but you can't just copy someone, every single transfer or take their word as gospel. They're going to get things wrong. We don't have a crystal ball. So I'll get things right. I'll get things wrong. I think with Cunha, I was correct in my analysis. With 8 Nuri, I was wrong, and I'm happy to hold my hands up. But yeah, it is what it is. I just laugh at it. We can't blame Craze if their suggestions backfire. That's just insane. Well, look, 8 Nuri conceding twice to Ipswich Town. I mean, fair enough. Bad decision to start him, but the red card at the end, who would have thought that? Wolves, very toxic, it seems, that club. The red card came from 8 Nuri being just absolutely furious and taking it out. yeah, pretty much. I think Wolves were fighting amongst themselves, actually, and then with the opposition. But yeah, you can't really account for stuff like that. Is Cunha going to miss the next game? It's possible. If you're asking me now, I think he does. So that is one to monitor. I might even take a -8 here and just really go in and try to fix my issues. 44 points of Borro, Bruno, and Joao Pedro remaining. Looks good. You're only... Well, a big problem for you will be Palmer. I have to say that. If he goes a bit quiet, doesn't get more than a goal contribution, you should be okay. 43 with 5 to go. Kirkes, Colwell, Matoma, Veltman, hopefully, and Palmer captain. I hope for your sake and mine that Veltman starts, but I wouldn't count on it. Good players left, though. Palmer captain as well. Yeah, you should be absolutely fine. I told you that Nuri had to go, pain in my ass like Arteta. Yeah, Arsenal fans are also feeling the same about Arteta. And by the way, I'm not saying Arteta out and all that, you know, but questions should be asked. Welcome, Beardy. Good to see you. So, Nuri to Hall next game week. Well, I'm guessing next game week, yeah, for Game Week 17. Yeah, or I'll be honest, if I'm buying a defender now, I'd rank Robinson, Anderson if he's fit, Kirkes. I know Kirkes is facing United away, so that's maybe contentious, but yeah, Levi Colwill as well. I'd probably look in that direction instead, but Lewis Hall is okay. The thing is, I think that big return today will pique a lot of interest. I don't think Newcastle are consistent, and it wouldn't surprise me if they drop points against Ipswich Town, to be quite honest with you. Let's see what else we have. Welcome, JM. Thank you very much for the generous super chat. I appreciate it. Mate, I need your help using Wildcard to beat the price increases. Raya, Fabianski, I'm guessing, Lewis, Gabriel, Robinson, Munoz, Gomez, Saliba, Enzo, Saka, Palmer, Rogers, Joao Pedro, Jackson, Isak. 0.8 million in the bank, be honest. Yeah, I always try to be honest, but it's a good wildcard team, and in a few days' time, I will post a wildcard video, as I tend to do. But so goalkeeper's fine. I know Arsenal very disappointing today, but they kept a clean sheet. They probably have the best defence in the league, although Liverpool have something to say about that. Lewis, I'm a bit unsure about, but I have to say I love the Gabriel, Robinson, Munoz, and Gomez picks. They look really good. Ideally, you'd go for Trent or Van Dijk because Gomez is a short-term punt, but it's all about balance, right? And going for Gomez allows you to go for Salah, Saka, Palmer, Isak, and Jackson. So I'm on board with that. A few things to reconsider, apart from Lewis, who I'm not really a big fan of right now, would be Joao Pedro. You might want to go for Evanilson instead, purely because of fixtures. Apart from the next two coming up, and of course I'm not including Game Week 16 in that for Brighton, but after Game Week 18, I do think Evanilson has better fixtures afterwards, but football's not all about fixtures, and I still think Joao Pedro, he's actually the type of player to step up against the best teams, and Brighton also do the same thing. But you might want to reconsider another budget striker instead of Joao Pedro. The other two strikers, absolutely fine. I think they're brilliant. Rogers as a budget option, that's calm. Not amazing, but I don't really see a particular standout. Buonanotte benched again. You might want to look at somebody else. Could that be Iwobi or Emil Smith-Rowe? Maybe you could look in that direction instead of Rogers. So that's something else, but you're not going to find me arguing with Saka, Salah, and Palmer. Now, Chelsea aren't the most reliable defensively, but I think until the end of the season, they'll still probably have one of the better defensive records. So going for Sanchez in goal or Levi Colwill might be a good idea for you. That would mean selling Enzo Fernandez, though. So that's definitely something to think about. Are you sure you want to go about Chelsea's defence because they've got the best fixtures until Game Week 23? That's obviously for you to decide, but something worth thinking about. I am happy with your goalkeepers, though, and 4 of your 5 defenders. Rico Lewis is the only one I'd reconsider, and that's where you could go to Kirkes, Lewis Hall, or Levi Colwill. It's a really good wildcard team, though, and I'll talk about my kind of opinion on the definitive best 15-man squad once all the games are done for the weekend. So keep your eyes peeled on this channel in a couple of days' time. You've got a lot of money in the bank, so you're not going to be priced out about some of the players I might suggest in some of these positions. So definitely keep an eye out for that video, and that will help you. But those are some ideas about how to improve. So I'd probably mark Lewis, maybe Rogers, Enzo, and Joao Pedro as possible sells in this kind of structure. But I do like what you've gone for. It looks really solid. 20k to 7k, Isak captain paid off. Nice one. You just have to hope that Palmer goes quiet tomorrow. But you should still be in the top 10k. Although, I don't know who you have left. You think Wolves avoid relegation? If they change the manager, maybe. It might seem harsh on Gary O'Neill. He did a good job at Bournemouth. he started well at Wolves, but it's a terrible run that has gone on for 30 games now. You know, since the end of last season, it's just not been good enough. And yeah, they can avoid relegation. They've got quality players like Cunha, who scored a brilliant goal out of nowhere. But at the moment, it looks grim for them. I'm not going to lie. Stockholm Forsen's Gameweek 12 and the one time... Sorry, I just missed your question. I'm just going to try to get it up again. Thank you for those moderating the chat like Wasting. I appreciate it. The one time I bench him, 2-8 Nuri as well. Yeah, but on paper, I think 8 Nuri starting isn't really a bad call. I probably would have done the same thing, and I think I recommended the same earlier. So yeah, covered this before. 8 Nuri out for who? Levi Colwill, Kirkes, Robinson would be the standouts. I think if you're buying one now, it would be Robinson. So basically, Cunha kind of scrapped with a Ipswich Town staff member after the game. So I think the FA could look at that and do retrospective action. So it doesn't look good. That's what I'm going to say. It's not a guaranteed ban, but don't be surprised if it is. I'm already going to think about it, the worst case scenario from my FPL perspective. Would he do Cunha to Wood if he gets a ban? Yeah, I think Chris Wood, you know, the fixtures do ease up. He's always a dangerous talisman for Forest. When he gets goals, he's going to be in amongst the bonus points. At that value and below, he's been the best budget striker in the game. It's as simple as that. Apart from Isak and Jackson, I think there aren't many better forwards than Chris Wood right now, so I'm on board. I think Palmer Warhol, if I'm honest. I think Chelsea could drop points, but Palmer Warhol regardless. Cunha to Raul versus Wood versus Evanilson. I'm less keen on Raul than the others. I think if I'm buying one now, it'd be Evanilson first, Wood second, and Raul third. But I think once it comes, you know, from my own team, when I sell Cunha in a couple of weeks, I'm probably going to go to Chris Wood again. Taylor Rudkin says, which one? Anderson, Hosen, Dunk, Konsa. Yeah, to be honest, Anderson when he comes back. But if you got the money, I'd rather have Robinson. I think he's worth the extra 0.5 million over Joachim Anderson. Cunha grabbed an Ipswich Town coach's face, basically slapping him at the end of the game. Yeah, you described it better than I did. Just the Barky says, for instance, if I asked you what numbers to predict for the lottery next week and you tell numbers based on stats, it still boils down to a lot of luck and chance. I agree. You could argue when it comes down to, you know, a content creator in FPL, you know, that's obviously, how do I say this, maybe more realistic or achievable to get things right in terms of 50-50 calls, who to start, who to captain, who to buy. But yeah, I think your analogy does work and it is quite applicable here. But look, people get angry all the time when they're not performing well. I just think to blame FPL content creators solely and not take responsibility for following that advice and not questioning it or thinking about a different path, I don't know. All I have to say is you've got to think for yourself. Otherwise, you're not really going to do well in FPL or just in general. Mohit says, guys, please consider Robinson. He plays an integral role in that Fulham attack and has Southampton next week. I just think the 2 assists today, everyone's going to go there, especially those with 8 Nuri. It seems like a no-brainer. You've got Southampton at home next. Fulham, solid defensively, got a point against Arsenal and Liverpool, 2 of the best teams in the country. And Robinson played different roles in both matches. Against Arsenal, Fulham were just completely parked. Robinson did nothing going forwards. But in this game, he had more license to bomb forward because Liverpool had 10 men, and the rest is history. 2 brilliant assists. Best defender under 4.4 million, Joachim Anderson when he's back. If not, you're looking at Howson from Bournemouth. What about Chris Wood? Well, what about him? I mean, I mentioned him before. I sold him literally just last week, and I have slight regrets about it. But, you know, in the end of the day, I wasn't going to sell João Pedro Cunha over him based on timing. But I think Chris Wood couldn't come back in my team very soon. He was a really good player for me. I'll be honest, when Chris Wood was offside, I was very happy. I was very, very happy. Basically, all your and my players will be on away games next week. Yeah, but I actually thought this week would be really high scoring because everyone was at home, great fixtures on paper. Not looking like it. But on the Sunday, you might only have 3 to 4 players. I think Sunday players could go bing. Also, Cunha's going to get a ban. Probably. It's not definitive, but it's very likely, yeah. Safety squat 36. I will never understand how FPL maths work. Well, it does depend as well on your rank. So the higher rank you are, you're going to have a brilliant week most of the time to kind of stay afloat and get green arrows. But effective ownership is a thing. It is, I get what you're saying in terms of sometimes you need to cheer players or not cheer, sometimes you're rooting for players you have to do poorly so that you get a green arrow. And from that perspective, it does seem strange. 23 points, Saka stinker. I think he played well today, I'm not going to lie, but he was alone. You know, what other Arsenal attacker did something? Trossard when he came on, useless. Martinelli, useless. Kai Havertz, useless. It's literally just relying on Saka, and he can't do it week in, week out in terms of getting goals and assists. It's really one-dimensional. You need to be unpredictable as a team, and Arsenal this season have been just bereft of ideas. ESR, Iwobi or Enzo for Semenyo? I'd go for a Fulham midfielder. Based on this season so far, I think Iwobi is certainly a shout. Smith Rowe is more likely to be benched, as we saw against Man City and obviously tonight, or today against Liverpool. Probably a slight preference for Iwobi as a result. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Milenkovic and Murillo? I wouldn't invest now because the fixtures are still quite poor, but yeah, I think long term, I'm absolutely on board with it. Milenkovic would be my preference. He's got more goal threat and he's shown it with back-to-back goals, but yeah, I think if I'm wildcarding around Gameweek 18, I think Milenkovic would be in there. Do you think Liverpool can see that Spurs? Yeah, I think they do. I think Spurs could get a result, but it means fuck all if the likes of Chelsea, Man City and Arsenal don't capitalise. But yeah, I think Liverpool will concede. If Cunha's out, how long will it be for? It could be a 3 to 5 match ban, if I had to guess. And honestly, I'm not going to claim to be an expert in terms of suspensions and, oh, you know, what will the FA, how will they look at it? I'm not sure, I'll be honest, but I'd say 3 to 5 games if they take action. No, Robertson won't rise in price tonight. I don't think so. Robertson has Southampton, Bournemouth and Ipswich all home games in the next 4. Yeah, probably means he blanks in all of them. That's the way FPL works, isn't it? Saka Halls, when you don't have him, you bring him in for a hit and then blanks for 3 games in a row. Yep, and in UCL Fantasy, I don't buy him for a hit and he gets 19 points. I might need to sell Saka, take one for the team. If that's what it takes for Arsenal to do well, I'll do it. Is there a possibility of Cunha's bonus points being lost at the end of the game week if he gets banned? No. No, because the ban would just be for future game weeks. It's not a red card like Aït-Nouri, so don't worry about that. He will be on 9 points, unless FPL, because for some reason they love changing bonus points now until the end of the week. He could drop down 1 or 2 in general, but not because of that. If Cunha's banned, do owners get -2 points? No. No. It's a good question, and it's something new. But yeah, it's not going to be the case. Adil says, bench Lewis Hall for Aït-Nouri. You can't write this. That's very unfortunate. The swing of, 14 points? Is probably more than that because of the bonus. Yeah, 16 points is crazy. Did Lewis Hall get 3 bonus points in the end? He probably did, right? We'll actually cover that now. So, Arsenal-Everton, Gabriel 3 bonus points, Pickford 2, Mykolenko, who I've bloody sold, he gets 1 bonus point. He should have been booked, by the way. And Saliba sharing 1 bonus point. Fucking hell. Liverpool-Fulham, the bonus points there. So, Gakpo with 3, Jota, Muniz and Robertson with 2, and Szoboszlai with 1. Newcastle versus Leicester, 3 bonus points for Hall, Isak 2, and Jacob Murphy 1. Then the Wolves-Ipswich Town game, Cunha 3, Taylor and Muric 2, Gonzalo Guedes and Hutchinson currently on 1, but we could see changes there. Forest 2, Villa 1, the final game that we just had. So Elliot Anderson, 34, who should have considered a penalty, by the way. I don't know how Aston Villa didn't get a penalty and how Bruno Guimaraes wasn't sent off. Well, there you go. Referees are amazing. Gibbs White, also with 3 bonus points, by the way. Milenkovic with 2, and then McGinn with 1. So those are the bonus points as things stand. For the Saturday games, we could see changes because, yeah, it's still subject to change by the Monday. So at the end of the game week, there could be a few modifications. Some of the players that I just said had 3 or 2 might drop down to 1 or drop completely out of the bonus points. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But that's how things look like at the moment. I'm also going to go to some different screens and see what's changed in terms of the FDR and all that stuff. So Fulham are top, and that's why Robinson is going to be extremely popular. Maybe Smith Rowe and Iwobi in the midfield, Raul Jimenez up front. And if Cunha's banned, a lot of people will go in that direction. So Chelsea, Man United, Man City and Palace are in the top 5. Arsenal kind of dropped to 9th, 10th there. And Liverpool are in mid-table in the FDR. Bournemouth, Wolves, Spurs, Brighton and Ipswich Town are in the bottom 5. Everton, They've stepped up recently, and that big break they got really paid off with their game plan today, and they're going to be a tough cookie to crack at times when they're on it. As for predicted points, Salah's top with 7.2, Palmer narrowly behind with 7.1, Haaland, Saka, Isak, Cunha, Son, Fernandes, Wood, and Mbeumo complete the top 5, but Cunha could be suspended for the reasons we discussed earlier, and Aït-Nouri is obviously going to be suspended for Game Week 17, and when he's back for Game Week 18, if he gets booked, he's actually out for Game Week 19, so Aït-Nouri is a very easy sell. As for projected price changes, Isak, Kerkez, Van Dijk, Colwill, Enzo, Palmer, and Murillo are projected to rise in price tonight. While some budget defenders, Aït-Nouri, by the way, he's going down. Watkins, Savio, Kanate, Franca again, Ricardo Pereira, Senesi, Pedro Lima, and then Matthews, Dewsbury Hall, Iverson. But the main one to look out for is Aït-Nouri and Watkins in terms of price falls today. Drafthound are recommending Veltman or Aït-Nouri out for Hall. Good suggestion, to be honest. Semenyo to Enzo, and then Gabriel to Saliba, but I think that will change with Gabriel obviously being fit. And then let's look at the captaincy this week. So I went for Salah, and it was quite underwhelming, but he still got an assist, despite Liverpool going down to 10 men. Palmer, though, is probably going to cook tomorrow against Brentford. We know this. Saka, Isak, and Haaland complete the top 5. Isak did very well with a goal and an assist. He should have scored more, missed some big chances, and also could have got another assist before he eventually provided Jacob Murphy for the 4th one. Saka obviously blanked, Salah only 5 points, and Haaland could really do well against Man United. Cunha, 9 points, he's also up there in terms of captaincy for the top 100k, and after that it's really spread between Jackson, Watkins, Son, Fernandes, etc. Let's actually have a sneak preview of fpl.team. So I have made an early transfer, and I'll talk about this in the team selection, but I think for a lot of people, the standout Aït-Nouri replacement is going to be Robinson. 2 assists today, another great performance. He also played well against Arsenal, and he's one of the best left-backs in the country. So I could have a defence like this: Raya, Colwill, Gabriel, Robinson, Salah, Saka, Palmer, Mbeumo, and then Jackson, Joao Pedro, and Cunha, if he's not suspended. And will Jackson avoid a yellow card tomorrow against Brentford? Probably not, and that means I'm in real trouble because I have made an early transfer already. I sold another defender today. That's 2 defender transfers on the Saturday, the 14th of December, a day to bloody forget. On the bench, I've got Semenyo, Veltman, who is still orange flagged, and Van den Berg. So another thing I could have done, by the way, instead of Aït-Nouri, is buy a budget defender like Joachim Andersen, or I could even gone to Howson/Hall. Could I even go to Hall? No, I'd be 0.1 off with him. So let's go to Howson, and then Jackson to Isak. So I could have done that. If Jackson is suspended, by the way, that's a -4 hit I could have done. But I've already made a transfer, so I couldn't do that route now. It would be a bit more complicated. So I'll talk about this in the team selection once we have the full picture. Is Jackson going to be suspended? Is Cunha going to avoid retrospective action? Will he play in Game Week 17 against Leicester away? I'd like to keep him for that game, especially after the Foxes' performance against Newcastle. They were absolutely terrible defensively. They also conceded many big chances against West Ham on Ruud van Nistelrooy's debut, which I did highlight at the time, but I didn't expect Newcastle to completely dominate the game like this and win 4-0. But Isak was always a great captaincy option, and he delivered. I might just go back to him and jinx the guy because I'm sick of him. I'm absolutely sick of him. The timing in terms of buying him and selling him, also with Saka, has been completely off. That's cost me probably 30, 40 points, really, looking at it. So that's really frustrating, but I will eventually get it right. Let's now go to FPL Challenge, where I did have Robertson. I had bloody Robertson. At least I jinxed him in a way, but what does it matter? Not too much. Raya and Timber with 12 points each. Saka, Salah. Saka blanking. Salah got something. Isak, decent return. Strand Larsen blanked, and the only reason I went for him is because players under 6 million will get double points. So, it goes to show that sometimes don't go all in on these things. But Borro, I could see myself selling if I actually remember to change my FPL Challenge team if he's benched tomorrow. A lot of Spurs accounts and rumours are kind of flying around that he will be benched against Southampton. We'll wait and see. But I got Son and Welbeck at the moment, and we'll see how the cookie crumbles. But I might add some more sub 6 million players, and that includes in the midfield too. But we'll wait and see on that one. Let's go back to my FPL team and see if the bonus points have been added. I don't think they have yet, but I'll have a quick look myself first before confirming. They haven't been, have they? No, not yet. But they should be soon, within the next half an hour. By 9 PM UK time, I think it should be updated. We'll wait and see. So thank you to those that are tuning in. We've got over 400 people watching, but only 40 likes. Let's get those likes up to 200 plus. That is the aim. Thank you to those that have supported the channel already. And subscribe if you want to support the channel even further. It costs nothing and goes a long way to really helping us in the algorithm. And also check the links in the description below. My Twitter and Instagram, DylanRCM, the Discord server, FPL League, Drafthound, and also Spotify. I did show you Drafthound very recently. It's a great tool I've been using since last year. And we'll get back into your questions now. Play Semenyo or Strand Larsen? Strand Larsen, but it's a close one. Best Fulham assets in your opinion? Robertson first, Iwobi second, Smith Rowe third, and I'd put Joachim Andersen in fourth. Jimenez might be fifth. That's probably the way I'd rank it. Sold and Boomer for Saka this week from -4, incoming in Boomer Mega Haul. Yeah, very unfortunate to be honest. I mean, Saka just got a brace and an assist in midweek. I didn't take the hit in UCL Fantasy for him, and I regretted it. But ever since I bought him for a hit in FPL, he's been useless. So it goes to show you need some luck sometimes. In Boomer, I'm hoping he hauls for many different reasons, but we'll see. My friend Gerald says Barcelona will win Champions League while I'm on Liverpool. I know this is early, but what's your prediction, Dylan? My current favourite is Liverpool, but it's a long season. They look like the best team in Europe right now, but they have shown vulnerabilities in the last couple of weeks, which is why I've been saying for quite a while, you know, if Arsenal, Man City showed their level of last season, and of course it's an if, that doesn't matter, but I'm saying if they could have maintained those levels, I think they win the league. You know, whoever can build that sort of run and performance, they do in the Prem. But Champions League, I did give my top 5 in a recent stream, so I think I said Liverpool, Inter Milan, and of course they lost against Leverkusen in the last few minutes, but they were in my top 5 alongside Barcelona, Real Madrid, who are always going to be in the conversation, never rule them out. And then afterwards, I'm kind of struggling. Maybe Leverkusen could be in the top 10, but I wouldn't put them top 5. I think with Man City, if they sign a midfielder in January, a quality one at that, who can replace Rodri for the time being, maybe they enter the equation again, but not right now. Do they even make the knockouts? It's not a guarantee. Thoughts on Greaves? He's a sell if possible. Even though this is at 4 million, you know, I talked about this with Vandenberg recently. You need everyone you can get in the Christmas period. Upgrade him if you can. Yeah, I don't like roller coasters. I like plain sailing, but of course, FPL football, it can be a roller coaster. You have ups and downs, you have rocky periods, but I'm not liking it. Kirkes versus Robinson. Robinson. It's all about timing, and you've got Kirkes facing United away, or Robinson facing Southampton at home. It seems simple. It probably will go the other way. Would the Slough goal hurt my soul today? It probably revived my soul. It made me feel good, but, you know, everyone is different, to each their own. I sold him last week. Time to get rid of Cunha then. I'm not going to sell him just yet, but I will definitely have, you know, some replacements lined up. That's for sure. That could be Evanilson at a similar price, and of course they'll be even cheaper actually. And maybe just go back to Chris Wood, shamelessly. Go back to him, and he would start for me next week. 52 of 4 to play before bonus. Yeah, looks good. But isn't it Neri suspension will be served in the cup? Isn't it 2 games? So why won't he be available against Leicester? No, you are right. I mean, yeah, you are right with the red card. That will be served in the cup, but not the second yellow. The second yellow wouldn't be served there. Let's have a quick look. So yeah, let me just go back to this question, sorry. Need a bit of a water break. So yeah, okay, you're saying, sorry, I misunderstood you. So yeah, the cup suspension, Wolves are out of the cup. So the quarterfinalists for the Carabao Cup are Tottenham, Man United, Brentford, Liverpool, Southampton, Newcastle, Palace and Arsenal. So yeah, he is suspended for the Leicester game. And once he's back for Gameweek 18, if he gets booked, he's missing Gameweek 19. So just to add clarity to that situation, if Wolves were in it, you are correct. I think that red card would have been served in the Carabao Cup, but Wolves aren't in that competition, so that's redundant. Dylan, is Trent really viable with the goals that Liverpool are conceding? Not recently, no. I admit that. He looked really impressive against Newcastle, and I was quite bullish on him, but in my recent wildcard video, I suggested going for Gomez instead saving money in the meantime and going for Jackson and Isak up front, whilst also maintaining Salah, Saka and Palmer. I got 35 points and a red arrow for some reason. It's rough in the top 100k. Yeah, I said this before, it all depends on the rank you're at. So you might have a decent score, relatively speaking, but you still get a green arrow, or red arrow, should I say. I don't understand Colwell, 1 return in 10 game weeks. Well, I made that quite clear in my deadline stream. I don't think he's a great asset. He's not going to get many goals or assists. It's about investing in the fixtures, and Chelsea could go on a great run and cement themselves as the main title rival to Liverpool. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't mind if Chelsea keep on blanking, conceding, Colwell blanks and all that. I don't care. I've got a few different reasons for it. Jacob Murphy's a buy. No, not for me. I mean, I say this all the time with budget midfielders. It seems like more options come out every single week, but none of them are a standout. It's not like we have a Cole Palmer from last season who just breaks out of nowhere. He's a must-have. It's not like that. He's not a bad option, but I think with Newcastle, it's Isak in the attack and nothing else. Maybe Gordon. Jacob Murphy as a budget option is okay, but I wouldn't really invest in him now. It's Ipswich away. Then you've got Aston Villa and United. Not bad, but I'm not so sure about that, to be honest. I wouldn't go for Højlund. Too much rotation with Xerxes. Man United don't know what their starting 11 is, their best one. Their fixtures are mixed bag. No, not for me. Hall, Kirkers or Robinson best? Robinson. Thoughts on Trent? Yeah, I just covered that now. Rayo Vallecano 2, Real Madrid 0. I'm surprised by that. Madrid aren't really on it this season. They could be a managerial change there. Thank you, Adji Potter. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're getting this question a lot. So basically, Cunha had hands on the Ipswich Town staff member's face. He was basically, trying to scruff him up. They could take retrospective action, the FA. Don't be surprised. Just be prepared. Have some replacements lined up. I think at a cheaper price point, you look at Evanilson. I still like João Pedro and Welbeck, but it might be an awkward time to invest. Raul Jimenez will be very popular, and I understand that. Ideally, you go to Isak or Jackson. Aït gone, Van Dijk in. Yeah, good transfer in. Liverpool have been shaky recently, and I think they'll concede against Tottenham, but long term, that should be a great move. Munoz versus Robinson, if you have good cover next 2 weeks, still Robinson for me. Plays in a better team, better defence. In terms of assists, Robinson has been slightly better too. I will admit though, Munoz will have far more goal threat. Will Robinson score a goal this season? Maybe, but I think Munoz can get 2 or 3 more. Keep Strand Larsen or sell to buy whom? Strand Larsen is a sell eventually. It's just a matter of when. Do you do it now against Ipswich Town away, or do you do it the following week? I'd probably keep him one more time and then sell. Dylan, have you done an assistant manager chip strategy? No, I haven't. I talked about it briefly in the deadline stream, gave my thoughts on it, but no, I haven't done that yet. I bought Raul. Will Muniz be a threat? There is always the possibility. I think if Jimenez has a run of 2 or 3 bad games and Muniz does well off the bench like he did today, it's certainly possible, but I think Jimenez starts in Game Week 17. I've had Robertson and Wood penciled in for this week for a while. Now everyone will get them because of war suspensions. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, I mean, with Chris Wood, I've had him all season, but I sold him last week, and basically anyone I sell, I regret. Anyone I buy, I also regret. But yeah, with Robinson, the Southampton fixture coupled with the 2 assists, timing, it just seems like too simple now. It's now 2-2. Yeah, Real Madrid typical. Not just in the Champions League. Aït falls tonight, replace to Aina or Munoz. I wouldn't buy Aina now necessarily. I'd rather buy Munoz. But in a couple of weeks' time, you'd probably want that Forest coverage, so it's all about timing. Sell Mikalenko or Van Heck for Trent. Everton look much better defensively. 4 clean sheets in 5 versus 0 in 10. Yeah, I know, Everton are a weird one. In the other game, they conceded 4 to United. Man United of all teams. They're such an enigma as well, Everton. I'd still sell Mikalenko, but one against point to what I just said is that Mikalenko could double in Game Week 24 or 25. Bonus points are in, thank you. I'll refresh, even though it's not really pretty to look at. But Cunha could be a parting gift. He might leave my team because he's going to be suspended. But for some reason, this is not working. That's great. That's amazing. Anyway. Yep, these are the bonus points. Yay. Cunha and Gabriel were free, so 9 pointers for both. Rye with the clean sheet, so 3 clean sheets out of the last 5. Not bad. Aït -2. Red card after the game. Saka blank. Really disappointing stuff. Salah as my captain. Only 1 assist. So kind of mixed bag, but it is a green arrow right now. I'm just hoping Palmer goes quiet. Although it wouldn't affect my rank too negatively if he did well, but I just want him to blank. Hall, Robinson to Collins, Murillo. I think you're doing it the other way around, right? So yeah, you're buying Robertson and Hall. Fine. I'll be honest though, I'd rather keep Murillo and not go for Hall. I just buy Robinson. Get Trent next game week or wait for the Spurs game to pass. I'd wait for the Spurs game to pass. Who should be my priority to sell? Havertz, Cunha, Lewis, 3 other starting defenders. It depends who these 3 starting defenders are, if they're actually good or not. I think the worst asset of the 3 is Lewis, but I'll be honest, Cunha could be suspended now, as I discussed this before. I'm not going to go into that again. But yeah, Cunha, he could be the one that ends up having to be sold because he's going to miss Gameweek 17 most likely, and then you have a poor run of fixtures there. So at the moment, based on what I think will happen, it will be Cunha. Hey Dylan, appreciate the stream. My defense is Trent, Gabriel, Hall, Aitnuri and Greaves. Should I transfer Aitnuri or are my first 3 defenders good to go? Yeah, they're good to go, but I'd still sell Aitnuri because eventually you're going to want to sell him. Wolves are terrible defensively. Aitnuri suspended, still on 4 yellow cards when he's back. Yeah, I'd sell Aitnuri. You can go to Robinson and then bench Lewis, Hall, Trent. I honestly don't mind benching Trent against Tottenham. Start to Van Dijk, Munoz and Ahmad Rodgers. That's a good question, to be fair. I would go for Munoz and I'd go for Ahmad right now. But it's a big risk with Ahmad. Got Trent, Lewis, Colwell. Should I sell Aitnuri to Robinson or roll? I'd sell him. I'd go to Robinson. Best 4 million defender. As I mentioned earlier today, there isn't a particular standout. I'd highly encourage you to invest in expensive or more expensive defenders. That could be Howson or Anderson when he's back, around 4.3, 4.2 million. You know, the likes of Kirkes, Colwell, Lewis Hall, and Robinson. I don't like 4 million defenders. It's as simple as that. Hey Dylan, so pissed off with Cunha, especially after what he's been contributing, but we move. Just going to start planning to sell him in the event of suspension. Yeah, I'm going to talk about that again, just to be clear, but in the team selection video, that will all be a bit more definitive. We'll have the full picture. We'll know if Cunha is suspended or not, but it's good to have a contingency plan just in case. So, if Cunha is out, absolute fool, isn't he? Ideally, it would be Isak coming in, but unfortunately, for my own setup, it would then mean selling one of Salah, Saka, Palmer, Gabriel, or Mbumo as part of a -8. That doesn't look good at all, but let's say if I still want Isak that badly, I think Mbumo is the most likely to make way, but he does face Forest at home, and I do think Brentford can win this game, and Mbumo has a brilliant home record, only 1 blank this season. But let's say if I'm really bullish on this move, I could then buy Iwobi or Swift Rowe, something like that, and go all in on Fulham, essentially. But I have to say, that is not looking too good for me. I'd still want to buy Isak, that looks really good. But I'll be honest, if I'm looking to buy a striker, I think the most simple thing I can do for a -4 hit would be something like this. I would think I'll just go to Chris Wood or Evanescence. Just keep it simple. Brentford away is a good fixture for Forest from an attacking perspective. I do think it will be high scoring, and I do think Brentford could probably have the edge in terms of winning the game, but I still think Chris Wood can walk away with a goal and bonus points. So that is my current plan. If Cunha is suspended, I could sell him for a -4 hit for either Evanescence or Chris Wood, and if not, maybe wait another week and just buy Isak. I don't even mind buying him against Aston Villa and Man United. They're still good fixtures for attackers. So those are my 3 main replacements lined up for Cunha if needed. Now the alternative is actually just to bench Cunha for Gameweek 17, you know, and just start Semenyo. That's not too shabby, is it? So I could have something like this. I mean, it's not great, but it's not the worst, I guess. I mean, Semenyo is terrible, let's be honest. I'm not going to sugarcoat that any longer. And I've got nothing left in the bank. But yeah, I have made a transfer already. Aitnuri is gone from my team. And in that team selection video, I'll discuss what I did. But it's good to think about that. Let's go back to your questions. Let's keep on plugging away at the likes. Let's get this to over 200. There are a lot of people watching, which I appreciate, but let's get those likes up. I wish I didn't get Nuri. It was FOMO. I got him last season as well. I was at the beach. I was having a great time. I bought Nuri and I started crying. He's a terrible, terrible FPL asset. I can't stress how bad he is. This season I bought him. He got a clean sheet against Southampton. Well done, mate. Everyone gets a clean sheet against Southampton. Except Everton, by the way, but let's not talk about that. And then, yeah, he got an assist against West Ham. 4 points. And then he gets sent off the game after. He's just absolutely useless. How do bonus points work? I mean, there is a bonus point system, so a goal or an assist or a clean sheet, depending on the positions these players obviously play in, will play a big part. But a clean sheet for a defender or goalkeeper is massive. And if it's a tight game, they've got a great chance of being in amongst the bonus points. But every single action in a game, it could be tackles, passes, they all contribute towards the BPS score. And those who have the highest BPS score, the bonus point system, they will actually end up scoring 3, 2, or 1 bonus point. Sometimes players will share 3, maybe even 2, or 1. There could be a lot of players who get those bonus. Who's your captain shout for next week? Salah's still up there. I mean, Tottenham can get a result, but I still think Salah can cause damage, and it could be a high-scoring thriller, as we saw against Chelsea last week. Palmer's still an option against Everton. I think Everton will lose. I'll be honest, I think Chelsea will win comfortably at Goodison Park, despite their record there. But those are the two standouts for me. I know people will be looking at Isak, but I'll be honest, I do think Ipswich Town could surprise people. Already done Wood, Enzo, and Robinson for Cunha, dibbling an 8 Nuri from -4. Good transfers. Yeah. Once going for Enzo, I've made my feelings clear on him. I prefer going for Sanchez and goal, or maybe Colwill, and then Palmer and Jackson. But if you're happy with that, I think Enzo's a decent budget midfielder to buy. Start Colwill or Lewis? Probably Colwill. Exactly going to be tricky contingency-wise at that price point. Yeah, Cunha's at a very specific price point where, you know, you either downgrade him or you upgrade and you go to more expensive players. That's a good point. Best captain next week covered. Great timing for the stream. 1 to 1/2 through the game week. You never walk alone. Yeah, for better or worse, you know, if I did it tomorrow, I'd probably be a bit calmer, a bit cooler, I guess. Whatever. Yeah, it is what it is, but I appreciate it, and a good point for Liverpool considering the circumstances. That website is fpl.team. It's free, and you can visualize future game weeks. Jellyfish Potter says 11 from Isak, 9 from Cunha, hoping Pedro can get 10 tomorrow. So do I, but he's another one. Absolutely useless since I bought him. I'm eyeing up Ivanilson. Yeah, I'll be honest though, I'm more likely going to buy Chris Wood again, despite just selling him, you know, last week, or Isak, who I sold 2 weeks ago. Just going back to your ex, it's not a good idea, is it? I think Cunha will get a ban, like Kudus. Yeah, hopefully not somehow, but he probably will. Got Tim for Gabriel. Should I switch back? No. I wouldn't necessarily switch back. I think Gabriel's the best one, but there are bigger transfers to make. Glad I went Hall over him, says Benji. Semenyo will return after having an injury. Keep it, Dylan. Yeah, look, I'll reassess. I've made the transfer already. I bolstered my defensive line again, but if you know me by now, my defender transfers are cursed in FPL. UCL Fantasy, maybe not so much, but in this game mode, basically do the opposite of what I do. Got Trent, Lewis, Colwell. Should I sell 8 Nuri to Robinson or roll? I'd sell him. I don't mind benching Lewis or Trent next week, so that's fine. Would you do early transfers to avoid price increases, decreases? No, I wouldn't, especially with the uncertainty about Cunha. Will he get suspended or not? But I made an early transfer because, yeah, I just had enough of 8 Nuri. I don't recommend that to people. Learn from my mistakes. I'll try to learn from my own. Will that happen? Probably not. Liverpool didn't get a clean sheet against Saints either. Yeah, but they won the game at least. Everton lost it. Would you do 8 Nuri to Kirkes tonight? Was planning the move next week, but might as well do it next week, even if I'm not going to start him and not lose 0.2 million. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I'd probably go ahead with it. It's just, normally I don't like these sort of moves or going really early, but with 8 Nuri it's understandable. He's just an absolute sell. I thought he was holdable or worth holding for the next 2, but I was very wrong. Good morning from New Zealand. Thank you, Jack. Hopefully having a good morning. Here it's nearly bloody 9 p.m. If Haaland starts doing well again, who gets sacrificed out of Palmer and Saka to fit him in? Saka. I just think Arsenal are hot and cold. They're either brilliant or average. There's no in between with Arsenal. And then you're just relying on Saka to produce a moment of magic. He gets double or tripled up on. And if you mark him out of the game and you can keep Odegaard quiet, I think Arsenal just really struggle to score goals. So, yeah, definitely I'd rather keep Palmer. Haaland wrecks everyone's world against United tomorrow? Not really. So just to make it clear, Haaland could score a brace or a hat-trick, but his effective ownership is quite low in the grand scheme of things. I think what it could do is force a lot of people to make early transfers or just take -4s, -8s to bring him back in, but I don't recommend that. Any holes on the bench, or is it just me? I don't know what's happening with YouTube, by the way. It's the second time today, it happened in the deadline stream too, where all the pages just go blank. But basically, let's go back to what you said. Trying to get the exact comment. Yeah, there are people in the chat that had Hall on the bench. You're not the only one, but you're a Newcastle fan. Big win today, great performance. Can't really complain, right? Well, you can. More likes, people, 400 watching. Yeah, I appreciate that, Twister Parky. We'll get them up eventually, and thank you to those that also watch in retrospect. Sometimes people just want to vent, right? In FPL, it's like a therapy session, and it seems like this Saturday, there's a lot of venting going on, or bragging. Munoz or Robinson for 8 Nuri replacement long-term? Robinson for me. Quite fond of owning both of them, but Munoz is on 4 yellows. Yeah, and Robinson's on 3. It's not a big long-term issue because it's until Gameweek 19, right? We're very close to that, but I just think Robinson plays in a better team. He's also showing a lot of assist potential, and Munoz gets a combination of goals and assists, but I'd go for Robinson, and I've done it already, or have I? We'll find out in the team selection. Adil says free transfers I can afford right now. Cunha and Boomer and 8 Nuri to Isak, Iwobi, Rogers, and Robinson. Thoughts? I'd do them. If you're going to be priced out, then yeah, do them tonight, because Isak could go up. Well, he will go up tonight. It's 99.9% certain. 8 Nuri will likely go down. That's a big swing. So if you're going to be priced out, Adil, I'd make the transfers early. And I don't normally recommend it, but in this case, I will. With you, Dylan, I've shipped 8 Nuri out for Robinson. Guy's a liability. Yeah. He's got me, what, 2 returns since I bought him against Southampton back in Gameweek 11? Yep, I agree, Rye. I also bought him last season back in March. Yeah, late March, early April. I was on the beach in Mallorca having an amazing time. Then 8 Nuri came along and just ruined my life. Wait, why Cunha's facing suspension? I'll just say it one more time. I appreciate that you're tuning in late, but basically Cunha had an altercation with a staff member of Ipswich Town. He had hands on his face. It could be a 3 to 5 match ban, maybe even more. Who knows? It could be like Kudus. But yeah, I think, I'm not saying Cunha will be suspended, but there is a chance. I'm prepared for that eventuality. We'll see over the next few days. There'll probably be a statement confirming he either gets a suspension or doesn't. It might be a fine, maybe a fine or some, I don't know, something like that. It could be a more lenient, punishment, but do not be surprised if he does get a match ban. 61 points for me. I was in 8 million in October and now 3.4 million. Nice, really good rank rise. Hopefully you can get into the top 1 million very soon. But yeah, that's really good progress. Kumar says, should I take a -4 hit replacing Trent and Wissa with Isak and Robertson early transfers before the price changes? I'm not so sure about selling Trent for a hit. I think this week, fair enough, it pays off, but long term, it's definitely up in the air. It's very contentious. And Whistle with a home fixture, I know it's Forest, but that's not the easiest. I'd lean towards yes with a -4 hit, but it's not a guarantee. Seems Arsenal defence all got clean sheets. Well, yeah, Gabriel got 3 bonus points. Timber and Saliba did their thing. I think Saliba was brilliant today again. If Arsenal don't win stuff, players like Saliba will be leaving the club. So, yeah, it's very important that they start getting over the line, which is looking unlikely. Would you start Johnson or Enzo next week? That's a difficult one, to be fair. I know Everton was solid defensively this week, but I'll be honest, I think they get the win against Everton at Goodison Park. I'm probably overthinking this, aren't I? I think Johnson could have some joy against Liverpool, but I'm going to say Enzo Fernandez. 8 Nuri to Wan-Bissaka. I would not go for Wan-Bissaka. No chance in hell. No. If you want to replace 8 Nuri, I'd be looking at Robinson, Kirkes, Lewis Hall, maybe Joachim Andersen if he's back. I would not be going for Wan-Bissaka. Unfortunately, like an idiot, I decided to support Arsenal. Can't afford Trent, says Thunder. So 8 Nuri to Robinson, Semenyo to Iwobi, Solanke to Vanderson for free, and in Gameweek 18, Collins to Van Dijk. What do you think? Yeah, pretty good transfers to be fair, and it's not a big deal if you can't afford Trent because you need consistent returns from him, either clean sheets or attacking, potential, the assists or the goals. And he's not really doing it this season. He showed glimpses, and I think he deserves more assists, but you still need more for that price tag. So you don't have to buy Trent. He's my favourite Liverpool defender still, but he needs to do more. Dylan Jinx Robinson, buy him. I might have done it already. And I might even buy Isak again and jinx him, and Chris Wood. Trust me, I'm going to get something, either points or jinxing. Something will happen. Dylan, what do I do with Watkins? I already have Isak though. If Jackson isn't suspended, I'd go to him. The highest scoring team has Pickford, Tarkowski, Mikolenko, Chaplin, Hall, and Isak captain. This can't be real. I mean, it's football, isn't it? But whenever you see these high scoring teams in a game week, I'd never really take it seriously because a lot of them, it's like a second or third account and they're just trying to, win the Manager of the Week award. So I'm not saying that's the case with this guy, but maybe it is. Gabby's an absolute gem. Glad I kept him. Yeah, one of the only things I'm happy about with Arsenal is Gabriel and having him in FPL. Bowen to Jota soon. Yeah, and I said this in the deadline stream earlier. There will come a time very soon when the 10-play midfield will be Salah, Palmer, Saka and Jota. But that also might cause repercussions with your defensive line, where you can't go for a premium defender, or you can't go for two, or maybe up front, you have to make a big decision. Is it Jackson or Isak, or maybe neither, and you go for Chris Wood, Evanilson and Joao Pedro, to name one example. Just at 8 Nuri to Trent. Long term, that's a good transfer. I think this week Spurs score though, or the week coming up. Cunha to Isak and Gvardiol to who? I have 4.2 in the bank. Joachim Andersen, if he's available. Don't sell Cunha just yet. Wait for the information. I do recognise in your situation, Isak will go up in price, and very soon we could see Cunha decrease, but I'd honestly just keep things as they are and reassess. If Cunha is available for Gameweek 17, I'd probably keep him for one more week. And if Cunha starts against Leicester, I'll be honest, I think he outscores Isak. That's my early prediction right now. I could be wrong, and Isak's been brilliant recently, but that is definitely on the cards. So if Cunha is suspended, Isak, great transfer in, and I'd go for Joachim Andersen at 4.2 million. We'll have to sacrifice Mbuma to get Isak and Jackson, and Robinson. Wolves players ruining my team. Yeah, but they are, near the bottom for the reason. Having two of their assets, it is what it is, right? At least Cunha did very well with 9 points. So I don't really have anything against Cunha, even if he does get suspended, but it is frustrating. Cunha definitely going to get suspended. Elbow to the head, takes glasses off and throws them on the ground. Yeah. I think he will get suspended, but you just never know. The FA are quite stupid. So, what's the threshold for 5 yellows? Gameweek 18? Gameweek 19. Then it increases to 10. And I think afterwards it increases to 15 by Gameweek 32 or 33. Take a -4 now to go from Cunha 8 Nuri to Robinson Wood, or just go from now 8 Nuri to Kirkes Hall, Carnival Robinson then. I'd go to Robinson and Wood. Farzad says, have 2 free transfers, thinking to bring Robinson today to escape the 8 Nuri 4. Thoughts? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be priced out, then go ahead with it. But otherwise, you don't need to do it now. But I may have done it already, and I don't recommend that. I have both Isak and Jackson plus Salah, Palmer, Saka. Yeah, that's good. I'm just not sure what the rest of your team is. There might be some problems there, but no one's team is perfect. I'm keeping Cunha and hoping he's not getting suspended. Same. But the likely scenario is he will get banned. But you live in hope, right? There are 75k managers owning both Robertson and 8 Nuri. That's a disaster if any of them own both. Yeah, I've got 8 Nuri in FPL and Robertson in FPL Challenge, but it's even worse if you've got both in this game. My initial plans with Cunha is just to keep and see if he gets suspended or not, just in case. But yeah, I've got plans lined up. So either Chris Wood or Evanilson to replace him for a -4 because I've made a transfer already, or I take a -8, go gung-ho and buy Isak again and jinx him. Dylan, I really hope you have a better tomorrow. We enjoyed a tough result against Everton tonight. It happens. Yeah, but I'm tired, man, with Arsenal. It's 20 years. 20 years, and Arsenal just lack that mentality to get over the line. It's the same issues every season. I don't want to go on a tangent on Arsenal, and, you know, there's a lot I could say about them, but yeah, I mean, Sunday, I'm going to enjoy it, but it doesn't make up for what Arsenal did today. It's unforgivable. You know, it's a golden opportunity to put pressure on the league leaders, and they failed again, 2 times in a row. Is Virgil a good replacement for Aït-Nouri? Trent looked bad today. Yeah, but Trent also looked brilliant not so long ago against Newcastle. It swings and roundabouts. But yeah, Virgil's a good replacement. I don't mind going for him over Trent, but if money is no issue and it doesn't cause sacrifices or compromises elsewhere, I'd still recommend Trent over Van Dijk if possible, but it's not a necessity. Thoughts on KDB if you already have Saka, Salah, Palmer, Jackson, Gabriel? Not for me. It's a differential punt if you want to take a chance on him. I'm not against it per se, but I don't trust De Bruyne to stay fit. His minutes will be managed. City are so unreliable. I'd rather go to Jota when he gets some starts. Saka sell? No. I don't think Saka's a sell. I mean, we saw what he did in midweek, 2 goals and an assist. He's going to still return more often than not. He's one of the most consistent players in the league, but I get what you're saying. I bought him as well going into that. Was it the Fulham game? I've lost track now of all these dumb results. United, and he was terrible. Yes, I rage sold Aït-Nouri. Mbeumo to Iwobi. If you're going to use that money to make another upgrade, then yes. Otherwise, I'd keep Mbeumo against Forest. Should I do Greaves to Colwill? I would make that transfer, but hold off now, because if Cunha's out, you might want to invest in a striker instead, like Isak. I might pass Jota as he takes up a slot for Arne's slot. Yeah, true. When I activate assistant manager around Liverpool double game week, already have Salah and Gomez and potentially swap for Trent. Yeah, that's a good idea. And if Liverpool double in 24 or 25, that's literally when the assistant manager chip comes into play. And using it in a double game week, yeah, really good plan. And since I've already used my triple captain, that's a pretty sound strategy. I'm on board with that. So I'll be honest with Jota, he's not really in my plans because I'm looking at Mbeumo and it's either hold him or maybe replace him with a premium defender or Isak up front. And if that's the case, I just go to a budget option to make that possible. So yeah, I think with Mbeumo, I don't see myself selling him to Jota just yet, but that could certainly change very soon. Did you make new transfers already? Yes. I'll talk about it in the team selection. Any type of behavior like that outside could be suspended 2 to 3 matches. Yeah, I said earlier 3 to 5. Maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised, I'll be honest. Hats off to your grind recently. Non-stop streams, big up. Thank you, Fazid. Yeah, last few weeks have been hectic, but now it should be calmer, and I could just fully focused on FPL and UCL Fantasy. But, well, I say UCL Fantasy. You're going to have to wait a month for that content, but I appreciate it. Ali says, is a -4 worth it for Trent, Raul, Iwobi? Who are you selling? That would be my question to you, and then I can give you an answer. But I like those players in, mainly Trent. Not a huge fan of Raul Jimenez and Iwobi, I'll be honest, but the fixtures are certainly there. Dylan, do we believe that Isak is back to being the reliable striker he was towards the end of last season? I'm trying to decide between having Isak and Jackson both or rotate based on form fixtures. I'd rather have both, if possible, but it does cause some issues with your midfield and defence. King says, sell Rodgers, Dean, Aït-Nouri, Rashford. I have 2 free transfers. I'd keep Rodgers and sell the other 2. I'd sell Aït-Nouri. That's the first one on the chopping block. And probably Rashford. Anderson or Howson? Anderson. But I'm not a big fan of doubling up on Fulham defensively. So if you don't have Robinson, I'd rather go there. And then you can go for Howson to cover Bournemouth. And that's something I'm looking to do myself. Iwobi or Rodgers for Mbeumo? I think timing's important, so maybe a slight preference for Iwobi. I don't mind Rodgers though still. I think he's still a good option. He could do well against City, by the way. I wouldn't be surprised. He's actually done fairly well in some of the big games. Great performance against Arsenal in Game Week 2. Scored against Tottenham away. Got bonus points despite losing 4-1. Yeah, good midfield anyway. I don't think you need to do that. Only if you're going to make an upgrade elsewhere. Is Trent going up in price tonight? I don't think so. I covered this earlier, but I can't remember, to be fair. I have another quick look now. No, Van Dijk could go up in price tonight. Same with Isak, Kirkes, Colwill, Enzo Fernandez, Palmer, and Murillo. But Trent is close, to be fair. He's actually close to the 100% needed, so If not tonight, we could see him rise tomorrow. Not a guarantee, but possible. Everton defense did well, but probably because of how rested they were. Yeah, and I did mention that quite a lot actually in my team selection and the deadline stream, the rest factor. But it's just Arsenal. They have themselves to blame. Lack of ideas, creativity. They didn't really test Pickford, and the big chances they did have, they should have buried. Odegaard, criminal misses, poor performance, it's unacceptable. Hold on with the Isak transfer, he's playing midweek. I don't mind jinxing him, I'll be honest, but you make a good point. Hold off on transfers if you can. Don't do what I did and pull the trigger early. But I'll be honest, if I do, let's say Cunha gets suspended tomorrow, I might still just go early and buy Isak, I'll be honest. I don't mind jinxing him. O'Neill must be away soon. The indiscipline at Wolves is real. Yeah, it's happened now. Lamina against West Ham, and now you've got Aït-Nouri and Cunha. It's just an absolute mess. Avoid Liverpool attackers other than Salah. Jota's my favourite, but his minutes is always a concern, and his injury record is terrible. And, as mentioned before by Tommy Rohr, I believe, you might want to go for Arne Slot. I can't believe I'm saying these words. Very soon for the assistant manager chip. And Gameweek 24-25 could be a great time to use that. I'm not saying it's the only one, but definitely an option. Is Mateta a potential replacement for Cunha? Yeah, but I would rather go for Ivanilson, João Pedro, Welbeck, Chris Wood. My favourite right now is probably Chris Wood, actually, I'm not going to lie. And then you've got the kind of big two, I'd say, of Isak and Jackson. I'm glad I haven't sold Raul till now. Fair enough. And if you started against Arsenal, very, very good. Live FPL has Trent going up tonight for me. Yeah, maybe you're right. I'll have another look here. For some reason, this button isn't bloody working. None of these buttons are working. 1 second. Apologies for this. For some reason, this is not working. My Stream Deck is bugging out. No, it's not even turning on. Bloody useless. Alright, let's get this up. Alright, that should be working now. So yeah, for me it's still not saying that. It's still saying Trent, or have I not refreshed it? Yeah, I'm stupid. Yeah, he is going up in price, it looks like. And Cucurella. So yeah, Milenkovic too. These are the updated versions. For those asking if Trent is going up in price tonight, it looks like he will. And then yeah, price falls. Gabriel. Yeah, Gabriel, Konate, Watkins, Aït-Nouri, Savio, Senesi. The others I covered and they're kind of irrelevant. Yeah. So pretty much those are the updated price changes. Let me know what you think in the live chat. Thank you for correcting me there. Raya, Fabianski, Van Dijk, Robinson, Munoz, Colwell, Davis, Bruno, Salah, Saka, Gordon, Rogers, Jackson, Isak, Pedro. I think that's decent. It is. It's a good team. I still think you should try to find a way to get Palmer. And I think in the coming weeks, you're going to really, not struggle, but you're going to really be tempted to make a few moves to make that happen. How do you go about that, though? Do you sell Van Dijk and make the funds available that way? Or Raya? Do you actually sell Jackson or something? I'm not sure about that, but yeah, I think Bruno to Palmer and maybe Gordon to a budget midfielder could be the option. But you've got a balanced team and you're not relying on one man, which is the most important thing. New Wolves manager as assistant, no chance for me. FPL statistics, I used to use that. I'll be honest though, I think livefpl.net are the best ones for this. I'm going for Trent, Slot and Salah in my team for double Gameweek 24. Yeah, that's my plan at the moment as well. But I'm also open to Van Dijk, maybe Konate, if he's back by then. So, dark blue ribbons on the Premier League trophy. I will be there no matter what. Next season will be ready though. Who do you support? Unfortunately, I support Arsenal. No more needs to be said. Sold Cunha for Wissa. I wouldn't buy Wissa. He could do well in some of these tougher games coming up, like Forest at home, but I wouldn't buy him. Is it worth bringing Gabriel for Timber? I mean, if you're really in a good position, you've got nothing else to do, and Gabriel comes in for free, then maybe, but I don't really recommend that. If you had the exact funds for Cunha and Jackson to Isak and Wood for a -4, would you do it? No. I don't want to sell Jackson for a hit. The problem is, if he gets suspended tomorrow, you're going to be like, oh, I should have done it. So I do understand why you're tempted. There is a chance Jackson gets suspended for Gameweek 17, and a lot of us are in the mud. And there, I think Isak and Wood would be perfect, and you'd be priced out by that stage, right? Because Isak is rising tonight. Difficult, difficult. That's a very tough one. I'm not going to lie, it's a really tough decision to be in, or really tough situation to be in, because if Cunha doesn't get suspended and Jackson doesn't, I think that duo looks even better than Isak and Wood for Game Week 17. Very, very close. If you aren't considering Jota yet, what about Gakpo? No, not for me. Because with Liverpool, I don't even have a defender. That will be my priority, despite their recent vulnerabilities at the back. With the assistant manager chip becoming a thing, I might want to save a spot for Arne Slot. And yeah, with Gakpo, I'd rather just go for Isak or go for Evanilson, Chris Wood. I think all of them offer better value and consistency. But you make a good point. Yeah, they do have a good connection, and Gakpo scored a good header from a brilliant Salah cross. No worries, animations. Let me know what you do. I think the best thing to do is wait. The problem with that, though, is that you can't get Wood and Isak, right? Or can you? Maybe, did I read it wrong? Let me go back to what you said earlier. Oh, yeah, because you said if you had the exact funds. Yeah, tricky situation to be in. Didn't sell Havertz till now. Do I change him to Isak? Yes. Twisted Park keepers his team. So hit Wood and Gabriel in, Robinson, or Isak and a 4.2 or under. Well, if it's 4.2, you're looking at Joachim Andersen if he's available. But that could be in Game Week 18 or 19. And yeah, so you've got Trent Timber, Twanzebe, Van den Berg. Yeah, I'll be honest, I'd rather go for Chris Wood and Gabriel. Best Havertz replacement, Jackson and Isak. Midfielders from Iwobi or Enzo, already got Palmer and Jackson. I'd go for Iwobi. Hi Dylan, hope you had a nice Game Week 16. Do you think Gabriel's worth 0.5 over Timber? Yeah, I do. I think he is. But for those that have Timber, I wouldn't necessarily be in a rush to buy Gabriel. I think there are bigger fires to put out. Cunha could be suspended for Game Week 17 based on what happened after the game. 8 Nuri is out and he's a sell. You've also got other issues that will arise. Maybe Jackson could be suspended if he picks up his 5th yellow card against Brentford tomorrow. So, yeah, I'd probably keep what you have. Is Isak a must-have? No, not a must-have, but is he the best forward right now on current form? Yes, he is. At the moment, I'd be tempted to sell Cunha, but wait for the information. Don't make this early transfer, in my opinion, because if Cunha is available for Leicester, I think he's worth holding on to for one more week. Best 8 Nuri replacement, Robinson. I'll keep it simple. But if you've seen my last few videos and streams, you'll know that I've mentioned Lewis Hall, Kirkes, Colwill as some of the best replacements for him as well. Got 0.1 buffer on the move, so could just wait and see. Yeah, that is true. That's good. That's pretty good. So it looks like Isak's the only one going up in price. So yeah, I think that's the best thing to do. Wait for tomorrow. You would have just about enough then. Nothing left over. And if Jackson gets suspended tomorrow, I'd pull the trigger. I don't think we'll get a Cunha update until the Monday or Tuesday. Yeah, that's the best thing to do. Wait and see what happens. Fortunately, you've got that little buffer, as you say. No worries to Stupaki. Saka and Archer or Odegaard and Evanilson. Well, if Archer's going to sit on your bench, I'd go for Saka, right? But Odegaard and Evanilson isn't a bad duo. I just think Odegaard can be really up and down with his goals and assists. Was 3.5 million in Game Week 10, currently up to 700k. Nice. That's a very nice run. Hopefully you keep on going. Anachronism says have free transfers and 0.4 in the bank. Suggest some transfers. 8 Nuri to Robinson. If Cunha's suspended, I would go up to Isak or Jackson. And in order to make that possible... Okay, you retract the statement, but do I still have it up on screen? Yeah, I do. Let's go back to my team, by the way. Thankfully, this is working again. So what else do you have? Difficult to make funds. Yeah, Son. I'd downgrade Son. So Son to Jota could be an option, but I'd probably go elsewhere. So 8 Nuri to Robinson. Son to a fuller midfielder, perhaps. That's just a possibility. and then use those funds to upgrade Cunha to Isak or Jackson. And right now, you're probably going for Isak, and I get that. But yeah, let me know what you think. Worried for my backline, sells Flecken. Yeah. That duo would have done very well for you, the goalkeeper rotation, but I'd probably look to make a transfer very soon if you can. Cheers, Dylan. Been a fan for a while. Appreciate your content for UCL and FPL, of course. Thank you very much. And UCL Fantasy will return next year, but only a month away, so just keep patient. FPL will still be covered in the interim. Too early to bring in Isak or wait till the day before deadline? I always say, if you can help it and you aren't going to be priced out, try to wait for more information, because Isak plays in midweek. We've got Carabao Cup games on the Tuesday and Wednesday. So if possible, wait for more information. We've also got plenty of games left in Gameweek 16. We've got the Sunday matches and Monday Night Football too. I've made an early transfer myself, but it's not something I'd recommend to people. Einut, Colwell, Trent, Gabriel, Veltman. Yeah, I mean, you've got good defenders or choices, but Veltman, just an absolute twat. Gabriel and Trent are fine. Colwell, good fixtures. And Aina, poor games coming up, but Forest are still hanging in there. And he could surprise you with a clean sheet or two. But yeah, I think Veltman is the one to offload there. And you could go to Robinson or Kirkes, Lewis Hall, etc. And Robinson's my favourite. Who's the best midfielder up to 5.5 million? I mean, on current form, it's probably Enzo Fernandez. I'm just not a big fan of covering a Chelsea spot with him. I think Jackson and Palmer are the best ways of covering the attack. But in terms of... Let's see if I can get a midfielder. Let's go for somebody else. I like Rodgers still. I'll be honest. I do like him. Yeah, Wobie and Smith-Rowe. Probably a Smith-Rowe. I know he's benched today, but we're only going to see that in these kind of like really special occasions facing Liverpool, City, or maybe Arsenal away from home. But yeah, it's between Rodgers, Smith-Rowe, and Enzo at the moment. Amad Diallo's a shout. I would probably go for Rodgers still, but not by much. Cunha to Jimenez, decent option. I do think he could be benched at some point. And I'll be honest, I'm looking at Chris Wood and Evanilson a little bit more than Jimenez, but it's not a bad transfer. That Nuri red card has forced my hand into making a free transfer next week. 8 Nuri to Robinson is leading the way. Yeah, these things happen though, right? And at least you've got a good replacement lined up. I think Robinson's a very good pick, as long as he doesn't get benched. No worries, Anachronism. Ryo just scored again, 3-3. Well, I'm missing out on a thriller then. Ali says, sell 8 Nuri, Timber, Cunha and Mitoma to Gabriel, Trent, ESR, Iwobi and Raul for a -4. Yeah, overall I'd go for it, but still wait for the Cunha news, just in case. A slight preference for Iwobi over Smith-Rowe, but I think with Iwobi, I think with Iwobi the problem is his versatility can be a problem because it means that sometimes he plays as a right back or he plays in a deeper position in the midfield, and you just want him as the attacking midfielder or on the wings causing damage. Whilst with Smith-Rowe, you're always going to get him as the 10. But yeah, good transfers overall. I'm not really against that. Not really okay. I don't think it's a big mistake. Salah got an assist against Fulham despite Liverpool going down to 10 men. You can't really account for Robertson doing that and making a big mistake. You know, it's a completely unpredictable game. We had a lot of shocks today, so not for me. Yeah, I know Veltman might be back. That's why I started him, but I'm absolutely sick of the guy. If he starts and keeps a clean sheet, I'll take back what I say, and you know what? You know, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I sold Mikolenko as well today. He got a bonus point. Fuck him. Fuck him. Santo Iwobi or Rodgers. If you're buying one right now, I think Iwobi would be slightly more tempting. Great fixture this week. Over the next 6, Fulham also right up there in the fixture difficulty rating. But I'm not going to lie to you, it's not clear-cut. I think it's very close. Likely sell fast depending on the Veltman situation because Ruud not starting him since he took over as the coach. Yeah, really good point. I think Leicester defensively are a complete avoid. Even Hermansen in goal, who makes a lot of saves at times. Vardy is still decent up front, but that's really the only Leicester asset I could recommend right now. I can sell Nuri to a 4.6 million in the bank. Who do I get? Probably Kirkes or Hall, but I think both of them concede. Both away matches, I think Ipswich Town could shock people, and Newcastle are so inconsistent, especially away from home. Yeah, I agree, Mohit, I agree. Wait on Jota, and he's probably going to break down soon anyway. I hope that's not the case, but history would suggest that he will get injured very soon. I'm getting Isak for Wood. I don't think you need to sell Chris Wood, but fair enough. I mean, Isak is an upgrade. I think with Cunha, you wait for information. I think he will get suspended, though, and eventually, as a result, I'd recommend selling him. So it's a kind of difficult situation to be in, but wait for more information. That's the best advice I can give. And then, if he's suspended, sell him. We covered this, Organ. It's because he could be suspended because he got into a altercation fight with an Ipswich Town staff member. Best United defender to buy? Probably Mazraoui, I guess. Delict. I really don't like the players, but yeah, Mazraoui might be the one if he can stay fit. Who do you transfer Nuri for? Timber, Gabriel, Harwood, Bellis, Fass, and 1.3 million in the bank. Robinson. Enzo or Rodgers? At this moment in time, probably Enzo. I'll be honest though, I'm not really a big fan of Enzo because of the triple up in Chelsea. I'd rather go for Sanchez and goal or Colwill, and then Palmer and Jackson. I'm selling in Boomer. Fair enough. I do think Forest at home is a bit of an awkward time to sell. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I can sell Nuri covered. I've got next week Kirkes, Lewis, Gabriel. I've got Nuri. Should I make early transfer or stick to these three? I would make a transfer, but you don't need to do it early because we've got Carabao Cup games midweek. A lot could happen. We've still got Sunday and Monday games in the Prem. So hold your horses and don't do what I did with an early transfer. But I think Robinson could be a great move for you. Lewis Hall or Kirkes are fine. Levi Colwill is still a decent shout because of the fixtures. But I think my favourite is Robinson. Ruler 2 says Fleckin, Robinson, Trent, Gabriel, 3 premium mids, Matoma, Joao Pedro, Isak, Jackson. Do I set and forget this team going on? Palmer captain. It's a solid foundation. I'm not against it. I do think Matoma is sellable though, especially after Brighton's fixtures term. Juventus just beat C convincingly and are drawing at home to bottom of the league Venezia. Yeah, that's true. It's a funny old game. But then again, City have been shocking in the last few weeks. It's now Juventus 1, Venezia 2 with 5 additional minutes. Yeah, that's why I still thought City would get a result in Turin, but it wasn't the case. What's your thoughts on Enzo? In isolation, he is the best budget midfielder on current form, but as I just mentioned a few minutes ago, I'd rather go for Jackson and Palmer to cover the attack, and I would recommend one defensive coverage, and that could be Sanchez in goal or Colwill. H. Layman says debating whether to do Cunha to Raul and upgrade defense to get Van Dijk, or do Cunha to Isak and no defense upgrade. Right. A lot of people are talking about Raul, and I get it. I just think Manice always knocks on the door, and we could see rotation in this Christmas period. So I'll be honest, I'm not as keen on Raul as some people will be. But if he starts against Southampton, it's a plum fixture, a great opportunity to get a decent return, maybe 9 points or above. And I do like the upgrade to Van Dijk. I'll probably just go for Isak though, and I'm not sure who you need to buy in the defence to make that possible, but if you could get Robinson, that's perfect. Ruler 2 says Fleckin, Robinson, Trent, Gabriel. Yeah, cover that, sorry. What should I do with Nuri? I'd sell him. And yeah, you don't need to do it now, but I would sell him to Robinson. Yeah, best Nuri replacement. It seems all lined up. 2 assists today. Great performance. Southampton at home next. Good fixtures in 5 of the next 6. Robinson for me. No, Isak is not essential. Trust me, I found out the hard way when I bought him a few weeks ago. He was terrible in 2 gameweeks for me. But he is the best forward in the game right now, yeah. Cunha has a difficult fixture. Well, Leicester away isn't too bad for me. But Cunha is sellable from gameweek 18 onwards. And for me, he's fixture-proof. But if he's suspended for a few games, I mean, he's a very easy sell, right? But just wait and see first. I don't think he's a must-sell if he doesn't get suspended. That's the way I look at it. Nuri could decrease today, mate, Goldhead. According to livefpl.net, Nuri could fall tonight. Thoughts on Joao Pedro? He's been very frustrating for me. Once again, I bought him in Game Week 4, got injured. Bought him recently, 1 assist in 3 games. No, Odin. I'll save that for the team selection video. Why should I not make an early transfer? Nuri is 100% going to drop tonight, and Robertson doesn't play midweek. because other injuries could happen. Maybe Jackson gets a yellow card tomorrow and is suspended. Look, if you're going to be priced out, go ahead. I think that's fair. But I don't normally recommend early transfers because you've got a lack of information. A lot could happen on the Sunday and Monday games. And with the Carabao Cup matches, with the other players you've got in your team who are involved in those matches, you could have some even further complications. So just be careful. That's all I'm saying. When Haaland will be back in form? Tomorrow against Man United. Adil says, which do you prefer? Free transfers, Aït-Nouri, Mbeumo and Cunha to Robinson, Iwobi and Isak, or Aït-Nouri, Joe Gomez and Mbeumo to Robinson, Trent and Rodgers? Right now, it's probably Robinson, Iwobi and Isak. Both are good though. Mark my words, City being United 4-1 or 5-1. My prediction was 4-2, so not that far off. Yeah, I think City will win comfortably. And then the same points as Arsenal once that happens. Fucking hell. Will Rico Lewis be price locked? Yes. Once he's red flagged due to suspension, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's the case. Robinson may stress out next game week seeing many FPL managers buy him. Nah. Come on, mate. He's a professional footballer. Surely not. One of the best left backs in the country. And it's not like he's going to be the most bought-in player of the week, right? Well, maybe he is, actually. Start Hall or Enzo for Gameweek 17? Enzo. I think Newcastle concede. I moved Raul to João Pedro for this reason. He's one stinker away from Mini stepping in. Yeah. I think, yeah. Maybe not one, but 2 or 3 bad performances in a row. And that's it. Stinker and hooked. Isak or Watkins? Isak. How much danger is Wood in for the festive period? I'm not so sure, to be honest. I mean, I still like Chris Wood a lot for the future. Decent fixtures now. A lot of the difficult ones have been brushed away, like Arsenal and Man City. Best striker under 7 million? Still Chris Wood. It's probably him first, Evanilson second, and I'd still say Joao Pedro or Welbeck third. What do you think of Cunha and Mikalenko to Wood and Robertson for a -4 if Cunha is suspended? Great transfers. I have no issues with it. Go to Wildcard next week. Can you tell me the best buys? Up front, Isak and Jackson, and then at a cheaper price point, one of Chris Wood or Evanilson. In the midfield, Salah, Saka, Palmer, maybe Iwobi or Smith-Rowe. And I'd still like Brennan Johnson long term, but you don't need to go there. In the defence, Gabriel or Timber. Saliba's fine. I just think an Arsenal defender is definitely worth investment. I don't mind doubling up on Arsenal or Liverpool defensively, but based on today anyway, Arsenal look a bit more solid defensively. I'd still go for a Liverpool defender though. That could be Trent, Gomez or Virgil. But if you do go for the midfielders and attackers I discussed, you're probably going to need to go for cheaper options, and that could be Timber and Joe Gomez. Robinson would be another one. Kirkers and Hall, that kind of puts you in a good position. Maybe Sanchez and goal too. Next week, Watkins brace versus City. Fingers crossed after back-to-back one-pointers. Yeah, I think Watkins could score. Not sure about a brace though. 25 points for Fabianski, Johnson, Matoma, Palmer captain, and Joao Pedro to play. Yeah, the points aren't great, but you've got some really good players tomorrow. Johnson is a nice shout. Joao Pedro, if he can finally turn up. And then Palmer captain. I think that's really, really promising. I got rid of Aït-Nouri a few weeks ago, thankfully. Nicely played. I wish I did the same thing. Your bench goalkeeper is the same as mine. Yeah, no, I just made a mistake on the wild card because I had Fleck in my team during the deadline stream for Gameweek 6, and Raya was out. Ended up making a late transfer for Raya. Didn't think to buy Fabianski for Valdimarsson, but not really a big deal, to be fair. Might have cost me a few points, but I've made worse decisions this season. And Manchester is and will always be red. We'll win them Etihad. We'll see. We'll see. You can do it, but not a guarantee. Okay, Cunha could be suspended because he got into a fight with an Ipswich Town staff member. Yeah. What do you prefer, Robertson, Enzo, Wood, or Robinson, Iwobi, Evanilson? Robertson, Iwobi, and Evanilson. I was going to bank transfers. What went wrong? Looking at the third hit of the season. The Christmas schedule happened, and football being football. I don't think 15 million for any player is justified. If Haaland was 13.5, him versus Salah would be crazy. Yeah, but Salah would still be winning comfortably. But I get what you're saying. In the first 5 game weeks, Haaland was on top, and then it was just a complete mismatch. Thank you, Odin. Mate, I love this feature, how you get through each comment. I appreciate it. Of course, it's difficult to answer all the questions at times, but I try my best. If you already had Timber, do you prefer Gabriel or Robinson? I still think Gabriel. I'm not going to deviate from that, but Robinson's a great move this week. I'll stick with Gabriel. Man City beat United 3-2. Haaland scores a goal after Onana mistake. 3 games in a row where Onana makes a mistake? Surely not. Rat Dog says Wood and Semenyo / Iwobi versus Jimenez plus Eze for Gameweek 18-19 onwards will be 6th and 6th attacker. Have Enzo as the 8th. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much. Close one. But I would go for Chris Wood and Iwobi at the moment. Need Jackson to pull his finger out now. 2 blanks since buying him. Come on now, you Senegalese knobhead. Yeah. You might score and get booked though, and then you're like, for fuck's sake, mate. I mean, it's the last thing you need if Cunha's also banned, which is likely. Raya or Allison? I have Raya. Yeah, Raya for me. Raya at the moment. I said this in my wildcard video recently. The 2 best goalkeepers are Raya and Sanchez. And if you go for Raya, I'd probably go for Cole at the back. Ideally, though, it'd be Sanchez and goal, and then maybe Gabriel and Timber, and then you go for something else. But it all depends on who you have up front. All about how you redistribute your funds. Should I buy Jackson for Everton? If he doesn't get suspended, yeah. Remember, if he gets booked tomorrow, he will miss a Premier League match. And that risk will last until Gameweek 19, essentially. Beliaref says, I'm on Wildcard, and with my squad, I have 5 million left for the midfielder, but already 3 Chelsea players. Would you change Jackson / Colwell to Enzo and get defense attack? I could do Colwell to Van Heck or Jack to Wood, save 1.6 million. Well, yeah, you're on the wild card. You can afford to do these, changes and tinkering. But I'll be honest, I wouldn't. I know Colwell isn't great, but I'd rather have him than Enzo because you've got Palmer and Jackson already. So, yeah, for me, 2 Chelsea attackers and 1 defender / Sanchez is the way to go. One player that didn't return is Saka, captain, 42 points. Bowen, Jackson, Palmer. It's a good score considering your captain blanked, I won't lie. And you've got decent players left, so it's looking good for you. 50 plus points is certainly attainable, and I think you'll get it. Gabriel, in my opinion, is a season keeper and a must-own, as well as Palmer, Saka, and Salah. Yeah, if he can stay fit, I think you're absolutely right. I think Gabriel's the best defender in the game. Senegalese knobhead, first time hearing that. Yeah, it caught me off guard. Let's drop a like, guys. Give Dylan something to smile about. The guy looks down in the dumps. I don't want to give a entire impression. It's just football pisses me off, mate. What can I say? I made a bad life choice supporting Arsenal. No one manages to answer as many questions as you do in FPL content. I appreciate that. Try to do the same in UCL Fantasy, although that's a big ask with the views we get on that. If Semenyo blanks on Monday, he's out for Iwobi. That's fair. And if I'm buying a budget midfielder right now, Semenyo's at the bottom of that list. I'm not going to lie. If I bought Nuri for 4.4, his selling value is 4.6. Will I lose 0.1 when he drops tonight? Confused. My maths is terrible at the moment, so I need to think about it. So, yeah, for every 0.2 million a player goes up in price, you gain 0.1 million in value. So, yeah, Harry, what you want to do, just to make it very simple, is go to the FPL website or your app and go to pick team and then click on list. So let me show you how to do it here quickly. So here, it will say pitch view and then list view. Click on list view and it will show you, wait, what? Yeah, I think they changed it a little bit, but let's go to, I'm an idiot. I am a bloody knobhead because I'm on the points section. But yeah, go to the pick team section and if you click on list view, it will show you purchase price, selling price and all of that stuff and total value. So that's what you want to do there and you'll see how much you'll get. But let me see if I can break down the maths for you now. A bit stupid. So you bought him at 4.4. His selling value is 4.6. If he drops tonight, will he go down? So yeah, I get your question. I believe he would. So what's his actual price right now? It's 4.8, 4.9? Somehow. Let's see what his price is now. He is 4.9. So 4.6, 4.5, 4.8. I believe he would go down, but my maths is shite right now. I haven't studied it in years, but let's see what other people are saying. I think the most simple thing, though, don't rely on an idiot doing maths. Rely on the website. That will tell you everything. Who's in Freight Nuri? Only 4.9 in the bank. Robinson. For real, my guy reads near enough 1,000 comments each stream. Mental. I appreciate it. Sometimes I rush. I try to get everything in, but maybe I shouldn't. Why hasn't Sanchez been playing? What? Are you talking about Robert Sanchez, mate? What are you on about? Robert Sanchez will start the next game. He was only benched against Southampton because Chelsea could have done what they wanted and still won that game very easily. Any chance Cunha score this week is affected? No. No. Because he didn't get a red card. But he'll miss the next game. Maybe even Gameweek 18 and 19 and 20. Who knows? Thank you, Rilla, too. I appreciate it. Hey, I will sell Ainuri now and get Timber good. Yeah, I think Timber's fine. Slight preference for Gabriel, though. For your information, Eddie Howe would have gotten a 12-pointer today, with Dyche and Silva getting 10 points on the assistant manager chip. Interesting times ahead, that's all I'll say. Semenyo and Cunha for Eze and Evanilson, or just Cunha for Wood? Semenyo and Cunha. No, I think selling Semenyo is definitely viable, I'll be honest, but yeah, probably Cunha to Wood if Cunha suspended, which is very likely. Iwobi, Ahmad, Smith-Rowe, or Enzo? At the moment, it's probably Iwobi. The thing is with Smith-Rowe, though, he's always going to be in nice positions as the attacking midfielder. Iwobi can play anywhere for Fulham, and that could be to his detriment FPL-wise. Gordon says, have you thought about slightly changing your approach and just waffling about anything FPL during lives as opposed to reading chat 90% of the time? I don't like to waffle unnecessarily. Everyone waffles at some stage in their lives, but I don't want to waffle purposefully for that sort of sake. I get what you're saying, though. Maybe that works. It means more revenue, it means whatever, but no, I just try to answer as many questions as possible. And sometimes, I don't know why, like an idiot, I go for the same people, putting the same question time after time again, even though I've highlighted it. I'll try to avoid that and be a bit more, or be a bit smarter about it. But yeah, I just try to answer as many as I can, to be honest. If you bought for 4.4, then you won't lose yet. Yeah, I'm stupid, so. At 4.8, you get 4.6, yeah. So that's why, don't rely on me. Bench Gabriel for Colwell, I have Saliba too. Ooh. Yeah, I wouldn't have recommended that, but look, it's just a shame we couldn't get through your question or, you know, talk about it earlier. Aina to Robinson next week or sell Cunha. His suspension is 100%. Not 100%, but very likely. Yeah, Aina to Robinson, though, is a good transfer. Why not both for a -4? I don't really mind it. Zabani or Dunk? I mean, for me, the best Bournemouth defenders are Kirkes and then Howson, based on value and other factors. Zabani's got 1 goal in his career, is it? Or 2 goals? Yeah, I mean, I got him last season for the double game week goal. It was mental. But no, not for me. I'd probably Dunk. Anana miskicks the ball and Haaland chipped the ball past Anana. Hey, it's Onana. Yeah, it's possible. I could see that happening. I have 3 changes. Can I afford Isak as an early transfer? Yes, you can, but it's always a risk. I made an early transfer and probably not a good thing to do. Thank you, Free Ronin. This guy is the goat of answering questions. I appreciate it. I try my best. Sometimes I give a bad answer, and then people are like, you are the reason for my failure. And I'm just like, okay, moving on. But thank you very much, mate. Declan Rice apparently came off because he felt something. He actually had a good game. Odegaard was terrible. And Arteta said it was a tactical decision. But I'm looking at it and thinking, yes, Odegaard was bad again. But why not bring on Nwaneri alongside Odegaard and make something a bit different? Well, Arteta sometimes can be a fool, but so are we all. Yeah, exactly that. So I stand corrected. I had a feeling I was wrong, so that's why I encouraged you to check the FPL website anyway. FPL Diamond says, like, share, subscribe, support your quality channel as you continue to get brilliant content on a consistent basis. I appreciate the kind words as always, FPL Diamond. You are too kind, if anything. Harry says, thanks guys, and Dylan, I guess I can hold off on that transfer then. I believe so. Yeah. It should be good with you and Aït-Nouri. You don't need to sell him just yet. At 4.4, Aït-Nouri's price will be 4.6. Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. Bowen and Cunha out for Jackson and which 6.2 mid? Thank you. Probably Iwobi or Smith-Rowe. I just really target the fixtures. Fulham have some decent assets. I'm not as keen on Jimenez as other people will be. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's more at risk of being benched for Manice. And I know Smith-Rowe was benched today, but I think that's more of a tactical decision against Liverpool and City away. My early transfer was selling Aït-Nouri. That's all I can say, but you'll probably have a good idea of of who I bought based on my answers today. FPL Diamond says, Arteta subbed off Odegaard 22 times while chasing a victory. Make it make sense. Arteta is your Brendan Rodgers. Fair enough. I mean, look, Arteta deserves criticism. He's not... I hate when people like defend him so much where you can't say anything bad about him. But he's gotten some things wrong, especially this season. I'm definitely looking at it and thinking a few games like Bournemouth, Newcastle, Everton, I think Arteta's to blame for those. Hope says, by the way, we love your channel because you give time to read chat. That's what makes your channel better than others. Thank you very much. Vong Spawn says, Nuri, Semenyo and Cunha to Robinson, Eze, Wood, or just Timber and Wood. I would do Timber and Wood, funnily enough, right now. But no, actually, I see your question. It's a good one. Eze could be a decent punt. Yeah, Timber and Chris Wood for now. 3 best Nuri replacements, Robinson, Kirkes, and Colwill. Arguably, I put Colwill slightly ahead of Kirkes simply because of fixtures. Welcome, football. Melinda says 31 points with 4 to go. Captain Salah. Very unfortunate, I think, with the Salah captaincy and the red card, but he's still got an assist. And if Palmer blanks tomorrow, which is very unlikely, but if it did happen, you might be much more positive about it. There's a few things I missed earlier. I'll try to go through them quickly. Bowen and Cunha out for Jackson and which 6 points? Sorry, I covered that. Idiot. Absolute idiot. Did I actually answer it 6.2 million and below? I did it. My brain is fried, as you can probably tell right now. Yeah, I said Iwobi and Smith Rowe. Jesus Christ, Dylan. Aloy, or Oi Dylan, 40 points today, 7 players to go. Fucking hell, nice one. At least Cunha returned. Typical FPL to get banned. Was going to sell him soon anyway. Not sure who, though. Isak and Jackson are simple replacements, but to think a bit more outside the box, I'd recommend Chris Wood or Evanilson. Cannon Fodder says, Horse still has 2 assists rather than 1 goal and an assist. When will that change? He's done wonders to me. Yeah, look, for me, the second assist is contentious. You easily could have taken that away if FPL are consistent with their approach. But yeah, look, Lewis Hall, decent FPL asset. I started Gameweek 1 with him. He was quite underwhelming for me. But Newcastle was so up and down. I personally think they'll concede goals to Ipswich Town next week. Odin says, I'm thinking to do 8-0 to Robinson now. Yeah, good move. Have another transfer in the bank. Only Bruno, Gabriel, Saka, Salah playing for me midweek. Yeah, I haven't thought too much about who's playing for me in the Carabao Cup games, but I made the early transfer and just going to hope for the best. Got only 4.6 million replacement for 8 Nuri. Yeah, covered that. So Colwell or Kirkes, Lewis Hall's up there too. Arsenal, Stoke City when they need corners to win. I don't think scoring from corners is a bad thing. The problem is being over-reliant on set pieces, and Arsenal have been in the last few matches against Fulham and not Monaco. I think that was a good performance. But you look at today against Everton. Yeah, Arsenal could have won still. Maybe the Fulham game too, but you need to do more. You just can't win the championship by dropping points to Everton at home. You know, dropping points to Fulham again. Just not acceptable. Football says, hi mate, I've got 41 points with Jackson, Enzo, Gavardio, Joao Pedro, Flecken and Palmer captain. You're in a great position, simply put. Rat Dog says, start Hall, Aina or Lewis this week or sell one for Robinson. Hall would be the best on paper, but I think Newcastle concede. I'd actually sell Lewis to Robinson, and you could arguably sell Aina instead, but I think Forest defensively will be worth investment very soon. 11 points with 7 to play. Yeah, poor score, but you've got a lot of players left. That's the bright side. I can't look at the bright side myself, by the way, but I'll try to be positive for others. Anyone going to the Amex tomorrow? Yeah, good question. Maybe I should become a Brighton fan. Save myself a bit of misery. Robertson Gimmick 17 is the top transfer in on the FPL website. 8 Nuri is the top transfer out. I may have done that. I may have not. Harrison says, thinking of bringing in Pickford for main keeper as I can't afford the premiums. Thoughts? Well, Everton just find a way sometimes of just keeping a clean sheet out of nowhere. That's 3 0-0 draws in the last 5 game weeks. Everton are just solid defensively when they need to be, but they've got terrible fixtures. If I'm buying a keeper right now, yeah, Ryan, Alisson are standouts, but I've said in the last couple of weeks, I'd go for a Spaniard in goal, so Sanchez could be a good option for you. Now I'm in 42 points with 6 to go with Haaland captain. That's looking really good, and I think Haaland scores tomorrow. 8 replacement. Yeah, Robinson is up there for me based on timing and his performance today. Yeah, I think he's top. Then I'd go for Colwell in second, who I bought also today for Mikalenko. And Kirkes and Lewis Hall in that order. Dylan, you as Arsenal fans, are you still want to keep Arteta after waiting results for a couple of years and new managers? If so, who is the new manager? Okay, so with Arteta, it's a complex situation in terms of, I think he's done a brilliant job at Arsenal. You know, he's completely transformed the club around. You know, Arsenal were languishing in 8th. They were terrible. In his first job, in 6 months, without making a single transfer, he won the FA Cup against much better teams in Chelsea and Man City. You know, he showed tactical flexibility, multiple title challenges. You know, the first year, yes, Arsenal bottled it. I hold my hands up there. But you could excuse them because it's a young team, first time challenging, and no one expected them to finish top 4, let alone challenge for the title. Then you look at last season, there were winless streaks, which is a common theme every year with Arsenal, but their run at the end, you know, winning 15 from 17 with 1 draw, 1 loss is exceptional. You know, the Villa game, Arsenal should have won that, but you might have looked at it and thought, yes, Arsenal maybe fumbled that particular match. But there was still a lot of pride in how Arsenal ended last season. Now going into this year, I just think there are multiple occasions where Arteta has made poor subs. Maybe he's been too late with them or not been proactive. The tactics sometimes just completely off it. The same issues of the left-hand side not looking as balanced as the right, and too much reliance on Saka, set pieces and Odegaard to create chances. Those are the areas where I'm looking at Arteta and thinking, this is your job to sort things out. And how do Arsenal every year look at their front line and think, oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's completely fine. You know, don't go for that game changer up front, which reportedly they were looking at after losing to Bayern Munich in a 1-0 loss. How many times last season did Arsenal lose a game without scoring? And it's happened already this year several times. Even against Fulham, only 1 goal and it came from a set piece. And look, it's still a weapon, that's fine. But create chances from open play too. It's just the same problems every year. I think Arteta should stay. I think he's a good manager and he's got the potential to be world class. But I also think other managers could come in and take Arsenal over the line. And Arteta needs to do it because I think he's done a great job. Now it's time to deliver trophies. And this year is a great opportunity. Man City will not be this bad again. I promise you that. Even after Pep goes, I don't think they'll go down to this level. So yeah, it's a great opportunity. You can't fumble it. But Liverpool right now are taking advantage. Joe Epper says Obi-Wan Iwobi is a great buy. He's underrated, intelligent player he is. Yeah, I agree. Nice name as well. Yeah, I think Iwobi at Fulham, he's been a brilliant signing. I think when Arsenal sold him to Everton for like 40 million, I was thinking, wow, Arsenal have done a masterstroke for once in terms of selling a player. But yeah, he's a good player. I have to say that. Very versatile. That's his biggest trait. Wood or Mateta as a Cunha replacement? I need to go off, don't I? Chris Wood. Pratik says, I absolutely love how responsive you are, Dylan. The fact that you go through each one of our queries makes you the best FPL advice of mine. Thank you very much. I just hope that I can improve with some of my FPL advice, but thank you very much. Esso says 61 points with Palmer, Enzo and Jackson to go. Yeah, great points on the board. I always say this, give me points on the board instead of games in hand or players in hand. So yeah, you're looking good. Would you transfer in Cunha, Jackson, Wissa, Isak, or any cheaper than 8.5? Already got Wood and Delap. Yeah, it's between Isak or Jackson for me. Wissa's still a decent player, but I wouldn't invest now with their fixtures. Ivanilsson's another one to look at in your case. João Pedro and Welbeck are good, but I'd buy Isak or Jackson. Arsenal just lack a 20-goal forward. Can't keep hoping wingers and corners will do the job. I agree. There's too much reliance on Saka. You know, he's the only world-class attacker Arsenal have. I think Havertz did really well in the run-in in 2024. But, come on, Jesus is your backup striker and he's got 1 goal in 26 games. And look, when Jesus first joined Arsenal, he was amazing. His dribbling, his agility, the close control. Even when he went 8 games without scoring, when he first joined, he was so good. Like, he was unplayable. You could forgive the lack of goals. But now, I'm sorry, Arsenal need to be ruthless. Sell the players that are always injured, like Tomiyasu and Sinchenko. I'm sorry, but you've got to be ruthless. Sell Gabriel Jesus. Buy an even better striker like Isak or Gyökeres. Have them as the main striker. Havertz start certain games or come off the bench and make an impact like he did against Monaco. But Arsenal need to get their act together. I don't think they win the title, and that's been quite clear for some time now. But I think it was lost in June and July, not even in the last couple of weeks. Thoughts on Kluivert? Everyone only mentions Semenyo. Not a big fan of Kluivert. I think a lot of people look at Kluivert now because of the hat-trick of penalties recently. I'll be honest though, maybe Kluivert is better than Semenyo. You might be right about that, but I just would look to avoid them overall. Ivanos is my favourite Bournemouth attacker. He's been very consistent and his underlying numbers are solid. Good performances all round. Fixture proof. I just think Semenyo is far too inconsistent and Kluivert's minutes are a big problem. Elazar says, best 8-0 replacements. Yeah, you've got two of the best ones already. Maybe Colwill, if not Lewis Hall. But my favourite will be Colwill at a similar price. So you don't think Kerkez versus United away, Lewis versus Villa away, Gabriel versus Palace away is enough to not have to bring in another defender? Look, it's not terrible, but I think City concede against Villa. I think Kerkez concedes to United, despite their 3-0 win at Old Trafford last season. And I think Palace can pull off a shock against Arsenal. I really do. But it's not a terrible defensive line. I just look to bolster it if you can. It's up to you what you do with that advice. Hakobayan says, for 2 game weeks, is it good to sell Cunha and take Joao Pedro Welbeck, then buy Isak or just keep Cunha? Well, if Cunha isn't suspended, I don't mind keeping him. But there is a chance he gets that suspension, the retrospective one, based on the incident after the game. And then, yeah, I just go for Isak, 100%. Branthwaite as an 8-0 replacement. I wouldn't buy an Everton defender, despite their recent returns. You're going into Man City and Chelsea up next, so maybe wait a little bit. Hope you can help with this, mate. Says football. I don't know if I should do Ricolos to Robinson or Cunha to Wood. My Gameweek 18 transfer will be Gvardiol to Trent. The biggest upgrade for me is Ricolos to Robinson. The problem, though, is Cunha could be suspended in the next couple of days based on the incident, and then the higher upside move would then become Chris Wood in. So it's a difficult one. I think you'll end up maybe doing both. But right now, I'd say Lewis to Robinson is the best transfer. Pratik says, Dylan, is it worth taking out Veltman for Robinson for a -4, or I just play Trent, Gabriel, Colwill next game? Great question. I just play Trent, Gabriel, and Colwill next game. Apologies. Yeah, I'd go for that back 3. Thank you, Terry. While you're still online, you're a legend. Thanks for your commitment and questions. No problem, and thank you very much for the kind words. 8 Nuri and Cunha to Isak and Munoz done. I can rotate Manice and I already have Robinson, by the way. Hope Jackson doesn't get booked. Mate, I'm telling you, if Jackson gets booked tomorrow, I could be in serious trouble with Cunha as well. I'm hoping for the same thing. As for your transfers, they look pretty good. Now, when I was mentioning Robinson replacements, I did mention Hall, Kerkez, Colwill, and Robinson, even Joachim Andersen. But Munoz will be very popular, I think, around Gameweek 18-19. So buying him early is not a bad play. And can Palace Arsenal be low scoring? It certainly can be. I think it will be. A narrow 1-0 win either side, maybe a goalless draw or 1-1. But Munoz always has that attacking potential that makes him very exciting. Thank you, Abhishek. I appreciate it too. Genius Gamer says, Rain 8 Nuri to Robinson now or hold in case of news on Cunha? I'd hold in case of Cunha, especially if you're like Harry, who is in a situation where 8 Nuri going down in price doesn't actually affect your selling value. So it's not that important to sell him tonight. Hi Dylan, what do you think about sacrificing Saka to get Palmer? Really want Palmer and just have no other way to get him. I still like Saka a lot, but if you can buy Palmer for free, yeah, I'd rather have Palmer than Saka. And I said this even when Saka got 18 points against West Ham and 13 against Forest. If only I bought him back then and not afterwards, for fuck's sake. Alex says, just joined. Your thoughts on the Gameweek so far? Slightly happy that I got Green Arrow. So with Gabriel and Cunha, really good stuff. But it's looking like a... Sorry, by the way, I should have put this a bit down, further down. Yeah, it's looking like a week where more issues in my team. So 8 Nuri suspended for Gameweek 17, of course. Cunha could be suspended based on the incident after the game. Jackson tomorrow, if he gets booked, another suspension. Veltman orange flagged. So yeah, there's a few fires to put out potentially. But if Jackson can avoid that suspension, if Cunha somehow doesn't get any retrospective action, then maybe I could be in the clear. And my one free transfer that I've already pulled the trigger on could be quite decent and puts me in a solid position for the future. But I've got a feeling some of my Sunday players will do quite well, and it could be an even bigger green arrow, but maybe I just jinxed myself, right? Spent 800 million to do what exactly? Man did 8th, 8th, 5th, 2nd. Simply not good enough for such a massive club, Dylan. I disagree, because you say 8th, 8th. The first 8th position, he already came into a club that was, what, 10th to 12th? And he was playing, well, he had a team of Socrates, David Luiz, and Mustafi at the back. He had Rob Holding, who was highly rated at the time. Imagine the standards Arsenal had back then. You know, I think that's a bit harsh to say that. Now, if Arteta doesn't get over the line this year or even next season, because I don't see him being sacked anytime soon, then yeah, serious questions need to be asked, and Arsenal need to go for a manager that can get Arsenal over the line. Maybe Arteta is a manager that builds a club, that transforms it, but isn't a winner in terms of winning the trophies and being ruthless. Maybe, but I think that's a bit harsh to put those league positions and not really give context. He did win an FA Cup, a few Community Shields, and the second places you're talking about are against the best Premier League side of all time in Man City. So maybe if Arsenal had the performances of last year now, it's an easy title win, right? But sometimes you need some luck as well. Football says, hope you can help with this, mate. I don't know if I could do, or if I should do Rico Lewis to Robinson or Cunha to Wood. My Gameweek 18 transfer will be Gavardio to Trent. Yeah, I covered this already. I would do Rico Lewis to Robinson. And if Cunha gets suspended, you can also make that move for a hit. But my preference, assuming that Cunha doesn't get suspended, which is very unlikely, is to buy Robinson. Ivanoson or Wood? I'm actually going to say Chris Wood, but not by much. Yeah, I agree, Jezza, but I don't think Arsenal make signings. That's the problem. Arteta's a good manager, but sometimes comes to trust their players so much they hesitate to change. Yeah. And he makes the same old mistakes, I think. Constantly rotating the left-hand side. And sometimes his subs are so predictable or not proactive enough. That's the problem. I don't want Fulham mids in. I have 6.2 in the bank. Out of those three, if I had to pick, it's probably Kluivert. Not a big fan of any of them, to be honest. So yeah, some of these questions have been answered. As an Arsenal fan, do you think perhaps Arteta's obsessed with not conceding chances in spite of a lack of creativity this season? Yeah. I think he's been too cautious in certain games, and that was epitomised against Bournemouth. At 0-0, Arsenal went way too defensive. They brought on Kivior, and they took off Sterling. That was really such a strange substitution, and I think that kind of summarises Arteta's approach this year. Thoughts on Eze from Gameweek 19? Definitely one to look at, and I think Palace will also be interesting with Mateta up front and Munoz at the back. So I'm not completely against it, and he's also at a price point which could allow you to invest in Isak and Jackson up front, or Trent at the back, for example. Thank you very much, Esso, and like the stream if you haven't already. We have answered hundreds of questions. This stream has been going on for 2 hours, and earlier we did a 3-hour deadline stream. I haven't even eaten dinner yet, so I'm going to answer a few questions now to wrap things up. Also, if you rewind, you can see the FDR analysis for the fixture difficulty rating, predicted points and all of that stuff, and it will be delved into in more detail in the next deadline stream coming up. I'm planning on, after the Ipswich fixture for Newcastle, to go Gordon to Jota. Yeah, just think about, do you want a Liverpool defender? I'm assuming you have Salah already. And what are your thoughts on the assistant manager? Because you might want Arne Slot, especially if Liverpool get a double in 24 or 25. I think Arsenal will stomp Palace next week, as Arteta will be demanding more of his players. I bloody hope so, but I think Palace is a tricky game. It's a banana skin. You know, they beat Tottenham. They were very competitive against Liverpool, drew to Man City. I don't think it's an easy game for Arsenal. I think it's going to be very close. Yeah, look, that's what I mean, Adnan. Well, I said Timber, right? The thing is, though, they both returned, and Lewis Hall's second assist was quite contentious. I think Lewis Hall blanks next week, though. I mean, feel free to start him in Gameweek 17, but I'm not that confident in him, actually. Forget Arnold or forget Isak? I mean, I'd rather go for Isak, which I said earlier today as well. Rune says, Eight Nuri and Cunha to Trent and Raul for free. Is it a good move? Yes, but I'll be honest. I'd rather go for Robinson and Isak or Jackson if you can. I've looked at the stream since you started. Respect that you're live so long and answer all the questions. Thank you very much, Thunder. If only I could go on for longer, but I've got my limits and yeah, got to close soon. How many hits have you taken this season? So 2 hits, a -8 overall. And in UCL Fantasy, I took a -4, I believe. Yeah. What happened with Cunha? He got into an altercation with an Ipswich Town staff member. It's very likely he's going to get banned. We have to remember what Arteta's done with the dominance of Pep and Klopp. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Well, yeah, when Arteta first joined, Klopp was doing really well. But in the last 2 seasons, I mean, there was the title challenge last year, and then Liverpool completely, they capitulated. But it's not really the same Liverpool. I think there is an opportunity for Arsenal to really stamp themselves and be the dominant force in English football, but they're not going to take it. He has got them to compete. That's what I mean. I mean, people don't really deep how much Arteta has really transformed the club. I mean, you talk about spending, for example. Look how much Ten Hag spent at United. Yes, he won an FA Cup and also the Carabao Cup, but in the league, won 4th place and then 8th place. Dismal this season, sitting around 13th. So spending money isn't a guarantee. Look at Chelsea. They spent $1 billion and they finished, what, 12th? I forgot their league positions, 12th and 6th. So yeah, I don't think spending is a guarantee. As a Chelsea fan, feel great, have 40-plus players, so Maresca can rotate. That's what I mean. And also, Chelsea are in a luxurious position where they can play their B team in the Europa Conference League and not take that seriously until the semi-finals, which they're going to get to. And Chelsea will win that. Arteta's not used Sterling enough. I agree. Not maybe the last part. I don't think Sterling's still a very good player, but I think Sterling's been decent when he does play. And he doesn't get enough minutes. Yeah, Hall has gotten the 2nd assist somehow. So just take it and run if you do have him. In my opinion, our left wing is slowly becoming a bigger problem than the CF. Oh yeah, I'd sign a quality left winger and a quality striker, but it also comes down to the system. Chopping and changing the left-hand side, the injuries to Calafiori hasn't helped. Yeah, but find a solution. The likelihood Cunha get suspended, I'd say 70% if I had to put a percentage, roughly. Thank you, FPL Diamond. Bosasso says, already the Cunha to Højlund, have I lost it? Maybe, if I'm honest, because United do rotate with their strikers and their starting 11 in general. Amram is still finding out his best 11. But look, Højlund can do it if he gets chances. He's a good finisher. I just think his positioning is sometimes questionable. Should I sell, or who should I sell Nuri to? I'd look at Colwill, Kirkes and Lewis Hall. I think they'd be right up there. Joseph Robinson says, make sure to press the like button. This lad has put in a shift. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much to everyone who's been tuning in. It's been a great stream. Is Jota playing 90 minutes soon or too risky? It is risky. My problem with Jota, and it always has been, the injury record. There's no escaping it. You buy him, he might return for a few weeks, looks amazing, then he gets injured. And he will be rotated, I think, to manage his minutes in this hectic Christmas schedule and also to make sure he doesn't get injured again. It's like De Bruyne. You wrap him in cotton wool. He's not that expensive, so it's not like if he does get benched from time to time, he can still come off the bench and do something. That's the good thing about Jota, but also think about Salah. You want him in your team, a Liverpool defender, and maybe Arne Slot. Fucking hell. How much money do you have in the bank? I can't lie, I don't know. And I've made my transfer already. I had 0.2 million, I think. Did I? I'll have to double check that. I'll have a quick look now. I should know this, but I'll be honest, I sometimes don't pay attention to these things, and they are important. So after I made my transfer, I've got 0.1 million in the bank. Yeah. Before I did, though, what did I have? Yeah. Yeah, pretty much I had 0.1. Yeah, 0.1 million. Great stream, Dylan. Are you an AI? No, I've got some friends who say that. They say I look like a... Well, maybe should I say that? I'm going to get everyone like banned or cancelled. But yeah, they say I look like a robot, basically. At first, we're skeptical about Maresca, but now he changes the team from bad to good. The players look happy this season. He knew to get players some opportunities to make them equal. Look, Chelsea are playing some great stuff. Look, I'm not going to discredit I'm just saying, we always have to be careful when a manager has an instant impact in terms of, is it a manager bounce like we saw with Ange Postecoglou last year? But Enzo Maresca's doing a great job. There were some critics, after they lost to City, a terrible preseason as well, by the way. A lot of people were saying, will he get sacked by December? Well, not happening. No chance. So yeah, Cunha got into an altercation with a Ipswich Town staff member. It was a scrap. Got into his face, took his glasses off, I don't know, threw it on the ground apparently, all that stuff. It doesn't look good. I've moved to Isak already. Fair enough. I wouldn't be surprised if he blanks against Ipswich though. I'm just saying it now. To be fair, Arsenal's recruitment for this season was a bit underwhelming. Yeah. At least one quality attacker, a left wing or a striker, had to be done. Signing Sterling on loan and then not using him is criminal. Should I sell Cunha or Wood? It's just an awkward one. If Cunha is available, I wouldn't sell him, but I think he will be suspended, so he would be the one I'd recommend. Just wait. No matter what you do, wait. If they're both available, then we can talk about this in more detail, but right now I'd say Cunha. Would you get Robertson or Gabriel for Nuri? I already have Timber. I'd rather get Gabriel still, but Robertson's fine. Last season, Palmer is a one-man to save Chelsea. Yeah, it was a one-man team before. Now, you've got something more about you. Jackson up front, Enzo and Caicedo doing really well in the midfield. Now everyone works and plays well. Most of them. Sanchez is still suspect in goal. The defense is still a bit shaky, but I get your point. Yeah, Trent is good, but he's not justifying the 7 million price tag in most weeks. Last Monday I did Cunha and Udogie to Isak and Hall. Fair play, mate. Fair play. And you saved yourself the Cunha suspension stuff. The time you put in is great, AI or not. Keep up the good work and good advice. I wish I was AI. Then I wouldn't have these illnesses and, my voice cracking at times. I need more water. Maybe I should drink more water. Iliev says, can you tell me I do some transfers? My team is the same. Instead, Veltman, Nuri, Mbuma and Verbruggen. I have Trent, Mikolenko, Fabianski and Ahmad. What will you recommend? Right. Okay, so yeah, you're saying I have those 4 players instead, and I got Raya in goal, not Verbruggen, but I get you. I have Trent, Mikolenko, Fabianski and Ahmad. What would you recommend? I still think Mikolenko is sellable, but Everton have been in good form recently. Amad Diallo could be a sell, and you might look at a Fulham midfielder with their fixtures, so Iwobi or Smith Rowe. But defensively, if you got the money, maybe Van den Berg up to Robinson. Donk or Howson? It's a close one, but probably I'd go for Howson based on fixtures. With Nuri and Cunha kicking off, would love to know what actually happened. Yeah, but something similar occurred against West Ham on Monday. Hall is my GOAT. Not for me. Who asked if you're an AI? It was Joe Eppo. You can blame him. Then who is a good defender with attacking threat? I have Trent, should move to Van Dijk. Trent will get more attacking returns than Van Dijk. With Virgil, you'll always have the goal threat from set pieces and stuff, but you've also got Gabriel. He's going to get bullet headers. Timber at right back and get a few assists, but not to the same level as the other players we're discussing. But yeah, I'm not saying you should sell Trent. I'm just saying he's not justifying the 7 million price tag. That doesn't mean he's a sell. Omar says, got Raya, Hall, Gabriel, Timber, Isak, Cunha all returned and 5 players to go tomorrow, hoping for a huge green arrow. Yeah, great stuff from you. Fair play. Keep it up. And I think Sunday will go well for you. I'm not going to lie. Simon F, good to see you again. Thoughts on Odegaard and Cunha to Jota and Isak. I believe Jota will be the first choice number 9. He will be. He was before the injury. My problem with Jota is his injury record is terrible. I think he'll probably get injured again before the end of the season. But whilst he's fit, he's an absolutely fine option. And I did say this in the deadline stream earlier. We'll probably shift to a template of Salah, Saka, Palmer and Jota in the midfield. But also be mindful of having Salah, a defender like Trent or Van Dijk, and on his slot by Gameweek 24-25. Yeah, Ahmad is doing well, but his minutes are all over the place, and he's not a consistent asset. I don't think there's a particular standout in the midfield at that price and below. Gary Neal to be sacked. He already has 1 player suspended and 1 more suspended. Yeah, toxicity. You've got the performances and the results, which have been terrible from last year. Don't forget, in the last 10-15 games of the last campaign, Wolves just had loss, draw, loss. It was a terrible run. My transfer this week was Robertson. Really unlucky, mate. I'm not going to be a smart ass and say I told you so, but in the deadline stream earlier, I was saying to people, in terms of ranking Liverpool defenders, is Trent, Van Dijk, Gomez, and Robertson is a skip for me. I just don't like the rotation with Tsimikas once he's back, and Robertson has been quite poor for a while now. I have Ahmad just to free up money for Trent. That's fair. I don't mind that. And I might find myself in a position where I need to downgrade Mbumo to someone like Ahmad to then buy an Isak up front or maybe another premium. Biggest problems this season for me is that recently not getting captains right. Went Salah this week, not looking good. Yeah, I think since I bought Salah again, my captaincy has been quite good. Even this week, maybe a bit underwhelming, but I did obviously get it right last time out with Palmer. But captaincy is so important, especially in a season like this. The margins are fine. We've got so many options and a lack of consistency in certain areas. FPL Glory Algeria says rank 14k, free transfers, thinking to roll again. Yeah, good squad. I can see why you're looking to roll, but I'll be honest. I think one of Juan Mazraoui, maybe even both, will blank in game week 17. But the midfield and forward line look really solid. Cunha could be suspended for the reasons I discussed already. Not going to go into that again. Just rewind a little bit and you'll see the answer. Let's see if Jackson gets suspended tomorrow. So you might feel like, oh, your team's really good now. But one or two suspensions will change your perception. And I think Matoma is sellable very soon. Simon F says, nice to see you recognizing me. Hope you're fine. I sadly haven't had the time to watch many FPL videos this season. That's completely fine, mate. Good to see you again. And yeah, long time viewer of this channel. Liverpool fan as well, if I'm not mistaken. So enjoy a decent point from today and a very good chance of winning the league. Isak or Jackson? I'm still going to say Jackson if he's not suspended. But yeah, Isak's been brilliant, I'm not going to lie. I've said those two are the best forwards in the game for quite a while now, and nothing's changed. Just me who prefers Van Dijk to Trent? Makes sense. He's offering better value for money at the moment, but still a slight preference for Trent for me. Satisfied with your team so far this game week? No. Because I sold Isak recently, and he just continues to haul and haul and haul. If Jackson blanks and gets suspended tomorrow, I'll be quite pissed off, I can't lie. Should I buy a replacement for Reynate Nuri if I wildcard in 19? I'd still look to replace him if possible. Yeah. Thank you, D. Rowdy. Keep grinding. Thank you very much. Likewise to you. Is Liverpool defender essential? Not essential, but I would recommend it still. I just wouldn't double up at the moment. I think they are showing vulnerabilities. Simon F says, praying Jackson won't get a yellow card tomorrow. Isak rising in price tonight will price me out by that 0.1. Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. It's very difficult for me to get to Isak. I sold him a few weeks ago to get Saka, and the rest is bloody history. Easy99 says, next season will be great. Sheffield United now #1 in the Championship. Will there be Southampton this season? Be targeted where FPL managers buy players from their opponents, especially that they're very bad? Well, Sheffield United were terrible last year. One of the worst Premier League sides of all time, but they're still bossing the Championship. So there's a huge gulf in class between both competitions, unfortunately. Best defender under 4.2. Honestly, I just can't really find myself, to recommend somebody. It would have been Greaves a few weeks ago, but just look at his situation now. I understand, can't deny that I'm glad I got Isak and Cunha. Yeah, but Cunha is a sell very soon. Maybe even this week, depending on circumstances. Omar says, do I stick with triple Arsenal defence? I'd still look to buy Saka. A trip up in Arsenal defence isn't terrible, but I'd rather trim that down a little bit. I have Saliba. Should I take a -4 to bring in Gabriel? No. Just keep Saliba for now. And if you're in a position in a few weeks where you can get Gabriel for free, then fair enough, but I wouldn't sell Saliba for a hit. H. Layman says, team is Raya, Gabriel, Colwell, Robinson, Konsa, Greaves, the big three, Matoma, Rogers, Joao Pedro, Jackson, Cunha. Sell Cunha for Isak or upgrade elsewhere? Yeah, at the moment, it would be sell Cunha for Isak. Even if Cunha is available, I just think Isak is a great long-term move. The only problem with him is injuries. I'm on 33 points with Joao Pedro, Kirkes, Kudus and Palmer captain to play. Yeah, decentish score. Good players left, especially Palmer captain. And hopefully Joao Pedro does the business. Which game requires more ball knowledge? UCL Fantasy or FPL? Difficult to say, to be fair. I just prefer UCL Fantasy in general. That's what I can say. I do better in that game. I find it more fun, less of a template, more variety, ball recoveries. There's a few things that I prefer about that game. But yeah, maybe use your fantasy. You recommend to sell Matoma? Yes. You don't have to do it yet, but by Gameweek 19-20, I think you're going to pull the trigger. Jakub says, already did Cunha to Isak. Would you do 8 Nuri to Robinson from -4? I would have to play Mikalenko against Chelsea. Well, if Everton defend the way they did today, or in recent weeks, it's not a terrible thing. I think the -4 hit for Robinson pays off eventually. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, could Southampton score at Craven Cottage? Yeah, they certainly could. And don't get me wrong, I would not be surprised if Robinson blanks now with all the hype he's getting. But I'll be honest, at the moment, I'd lean towards yes, taking the -4 hit. Bring in Manice this week? No. I still think Jimenez starts. Any shocks tomorrow? Maybe United getting a result, I guess, similar to what I said earlier. Gabriel predicted to drop tonight? Yeah. I covered that earlier. Gabriel should go down in price. TRFC7 says, I've decided I'm probably going without Haaland all season. Now, no matter what, Saka, Salah, Palmer is just better. Agreed, but if Saka keeps on blanking, there will be a shift in perceptions. Will Anderson be nailed on after his injury? Yes. Once he's back and available, ready to start games, yeah. Zodiac says UCL more wide knowledge. Defensive midfielders got a purpose, 100% UCL. Yeah, and also more teams. You know, you have to kind of keep updated with more countries and leagues. But look, there's definitely a debate to be had. My forwards are Wood, Wissa and Joao Pedro. Who to sell and who to buy? I still think Wissa is more of a sell than the other two. But Joao Pedro needs to step up big time. Wissa to Evanilson could be on the cards. Maybe Jimenez, but I'd be careful with Fulham attackers, especially the strikers, Manice and Jimenez. There could be rotation. Yeah, great transfer. I have no problems with it, B-Ball. I think sneakily, I would not be surprised if Robertson blanks in Gameweek 17, but it's a good transfer. Vivek says 8 Nuri to Van Dijk a good transfer? Yes. Can't get another Arsenal defender? That's absolutely fine, mate. Van Dijk, I think, will blank against Tottenham, but long term, Liverpool are the team to beat. They'll get clean sheets, and I'm not against it. First away win for Brentford tomorrow? Hopefully. But despite their record at Stamford Bridge, I'd say no. Should I take a -4 for Robinson? I'd take the -4 hit, but 4.5 and below, I'd be looking at Colwill, Lewis Hall, Howson, Joachim Anderson when he's back. Who do I bring in for Cunha? I've already got Isak and Jackson. I'd be looking at Chris Wood or Evanilson. Who's your preferred replacement for 8 Nuri for a similar price? Robertson has tempted me the most. Yeah, Robertson will be top. In second, I'd say Colwill just because of the fixtures. And in third, I'd go for Kirkes. Fourth, Lewis Hall. And that's pretty much enough, I think, for that list. UCL Fantasy is underrated. It's much more fun and it rewards the risk taken. Yeah, generally speaking, I do agree with you. Red or Dead 69 says, Forza Rosario Central. Thank you very much. Have Pedro, Jackson and Cunha. Might have to take a hit tomorrow. If Jackson gets a yellow, best replacement for Cunha for 6.6 million. Chris Wood. Yeah, Chris Wood. And then afterwards, Evanilson. I'd be looking at those two rather than Manice or Jimenez. Sell 8 Nuri for Virgil or Robinson, Kirkes or other cheap defender. 2 defenders from Arsenal already in the squad. I'd go to Robinson, but the others are absolutely fine. I'll see you very soon, Twister Parky. Good to see you. What do you think of Raul to replace Cunha? Great fixtures, but I think if he's got 2 or 3 bad games in him, you could see Manice take his place. And also, I think there'll be rotation in the Fulham striker position. And I think both of them can come off the bench and do a job, score a goal like Manice did today. So I'd actually rather avoid it, I'm not going to lie. Kirk is a super option as well. He's been really good recently. I think he's a good choice. I wouldn't call him incredible or super, but that's down to opinion. Any suggestions on what FPL should bring next season? Mine is doing subs during the game and bring predictor to the game. Yeah, that's a good one, the predictor one. They're all good suggestions. I think ball recoveries is simple, effective. Bring the limitless chip or bring back the all-out attack chip from a few years ago. 8 Nuri to Robinson or Van Dijk? Well, this week I'd rather buy Robinson. Better chance of a clean sheet against Southampton at home compared to Tottenham away. Who to bring in for Konsa? Other defenders are 8 Nuri, Trent, Mikalenko and Saliba. I'd sell 8 Nuri first, but you could sell both, definitely. I'd look to buy Robinson. Lyad says best 8 Nuri replacements under 5 million. I think I covered your question earlier, mate. I'd be looking at Colwill, Kirkes and Hall in that order. Would you replace Jackson for Isak free transfer for the long term? Only if Jackson gets booked tomorrow and suspended for Gameweek 17. Why the move to remove Gabriel after he played today? It was mainly before the deadline. A lot of people sold him before the deadline. Have some veggie chili now. Yeah, enjoy it, Twister Parky. I'm going to have dinner now because it's way too late. It's 10:30 p.m. Will Cunha lose bonus because of the beef at the end of the game? Not because of that, no. But FPL have this thing this season where they change things up until the very end of the week, and I don't like that with the bonus points. I think they should be quite consistent, transparent, and concise. I don't like the last-minute changes. It seems a bit sneaky, in my opinion. In a few weeks, Munoz will be a good defender option. I agree. Got good underlying stats as well. When I was making the wildcard video for Gameweek 16 a few days ago, I had Munoz in my team, but I did change it because of a few things that happened. Thank you, Red or Dead. Thanks so much for your hard work. Follow you here and UCL for years now. Actually bought a Rosario stick in So Rare, and I've been following them for a year now. Yeah, they won the league last year. At least one team that can do me proud. Yeah, and hopefully they can pick things up because the last few months have been terrible. Thank you very much. Get some rest, Dylan. Working too hard. Thank you, H. Layman. It's been a pleasure. It's a hobby. It's a passion. I don't know. Let's just go. Good night. Twister Parky says one last thing that would be good before I go is what about a supper? Yeah, I should have supper. Save a chip keeper gets triple points. Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of things you could do for FPL to make it even better. Not just bring in an assistant manager. God knows how that's going to turn out, but hopefully it's pretty good. It just seems like it could be a massive swing of points, and it's completely random, so to speak. But we'll give it a chance and see how things go. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been another long stream, 2 hours 30 on top of the mammoth 3-hour deadline stream earlier. If you haven't already, smash the like button and subscribe for new. There are still so many of you here, by the way, which I do appreciate. We've got through a lot of questions and comments with our early thoughts ahead of Gameweek 17, and we've covered the Gameweek 16 action already. Good night to Twisted Parky. What's on the meal tonight? Probably spaghetti di bolognese, I think. I'll check. Have a nice evening. Likewise, Zodiac. Enjoy yourself. If I buy a defender, it could be a fullback. They're more attacking forward with assists and goals. Centre-backs could score by corners. And that's why UCL Fantasy, one of the reasons I prefer it is because you've got ball recoveries there, which makes a Van Dijk versus Trent more of a big decision to make. In years gone by, you just go for Trent and the assist threat. Thank you, Parkbeg FC. I appreciate it. And thank you, Beardy. I'll see you very soon. The next stream should be next Saturday for the Gameweek 17 deadline stream. But in the meantime, there will be FPL content in the form of transfer tips, wildcard, and team selection videos. Lucas says Cunha, 8 Nuri, Ricolos to Isak, Robinson, and Anderson for free. Appreciate your answers. Yes, I think Cunha will be banned. If he isn't, you could definitely hold on to him for one more week. But yeah, on paper, all of those moves look really good. A double up in Fulham is still a bit of a, question marks about it. Because despite the fixtures coming up, I think one is probably more than enough. But at the same time, at 4.2 million and below, Anderson is the best defender. And at Robinson's price and below, he's probably the best defender in the game. So I get those moves. And Isak is a great move. You can't go wrong there. Good luck all. Likewise, mate. And once again, the chat has bugged out for me before we've closed things. But yeah, thank you, Joe. I appreciate that. Good luck to all. Hopefully the Sunday and Monday games have a lot in store for you. Thank you, Simon. And see you, Virat. It's been a pleasure talking to all of you. If you've got any more questions or comments, leave them in the comment section. Join the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. And you can also talk to me on there. And there are even more links like Drafthound, the FPL League, and you can support the channel even further by becoming a patron or a channel member. Click the join button on YouTube or go to patreon.com/DylanRCM for early access to my videos, amongst many other perks. Enjoy the football. Hopefully you get some green arrows and enjoy FPL somehow. It can be a grind, but hopefully things go well. I'll see you very soon for more FPL content.